look back at 23 like it was a massive year for me in terms of career, but it was a pretty awful year for the family. I left 1.5-week-old baby, 2 in-laws sick in our house at home. Like, it was pretty messed up. Probably the worst I've treated myself during a golf tournament. Like, I'm pretty sure I got pissed like 3 or 4 nights that week. I looked at the leaderboard, done a links on the 9th hole, and I was tied for the lead with Rory. And I know 2 years earlier I would have absolutely shat myself seeing that. Can't remember what I shot on the back 9, but I beat the golf course and ended up, winning the tournament. I hit the exact shot I wanted to hit, which is why I say it's probably the best shot I've ever hit. I had to hit a cut. It had to go up. I just looked at him and goes, I can't get too high in there, can I? And he goes, no. I was like, 3 wood, got to take a bit off it. He's like, yep, done. And as soon as I hit it, I was like, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I flushed the pants off it.
I'm going to finish just with a couple of bits from Grant. It's the culmination of a boyhood dream for him, but now it's about how good can I be? So I kind of want to address that one. How good can you be? How are you thinking about that?
Well,
this week on Between Two Beers, we welcome back Ryan Fox.
We first spoke to Ryan in 2022, and it's fair to say a lot has happened since then. He's won on the PGA Tour, he's played at the Masters, he now has 2 kids under 5 and has secured his golfing future for the next few years.
But what you might not have seen is the struggle behind the scenes as Foxy has encountered family loss, illness and injury, all while still footing it with the world's best golfers.
There is also a strong theme of friendship in this one, with Foxy letting us into the world of his lads chat on WhatsApp that keeps him grounded despite the success he has achieved on the global stage.
It was awesome to reconnect with Foxy, who is one of our favourite guests, and we're thankful he took the time during a busy schedule back home to drive down to Hamilton and sit with us. You're going to love this one.
This episode is brought to you by TAB. Got a hunch? Download the app today and get your bet on.
And if you'd like to get one of our epic guests or us in to MC or speak at your next function or event, flick us a message by going to b2bspeakers.co.nz and we'll help find you the perfect fit for your night.
And finally, Seamus and I are stoked to now be dressed by Barkers, who are kitting us out for all our episodes. Looking good, Shay. Head to barkersonline.co.nz to check out their range.
Enjoy.
Ryan Fox, welcome back to Between Two Beers.
Yeah, it's cool to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's been 3 years. Can you believe that? 3 years. You've been up to much?
You've been doing much?
Yeah, I feel like a little bit's happened in the last 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're so stoked you've come down to Hamilton to check out our new studio and hang with us today. When Shay mentioned that you were keen to come down, I was like, I have to ask him to play golf. I have to see if he's keen to go out afterwards. And so I sheepishly sent you a voice note. I was like, hey man, just wanted to see, after we record, you want to go out and play some golf? You must get that a lot. Like, is that quite a painful question for you to have to handle with every person you come across?
I do get it a lot. Not really. Like, I would have been happy to play with you this afternoon if the timing worked a little bit.
Right.
No,
okay.
But, like, obviously it was 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock was our earliest tee time this afternoon.
Yeah, there was a tournament on at Tiki, so I couldn't.
I'd quite like to get home for my kids' bedtime. I don't spend a lot of time at home. So, yeah, look, it's one of those things. I think it's got, like, those kind of questions, have happened a lot more over the last 2 or 3 years than what they were earlier. Like, I'd always get the, can you donate around to charity and stuff like that? And that still that happens a lot, but I have to say no a lot more now than what I used to because I'm not home anywhere near as much as I used to be, and my time's a bit more precious now. I've got a almost 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. I want to be able to, when I'm home, I want to be able to spend time doing like normal things, which I don't get to do much during the year. So, I get a lot of it, but I've got a lot better at saying no. My wife probably says I'm still not very good at saying no, but it's like it gets to a point now, if I say yes to all the charity golf days, I could literally load up like 30 days in a row.
Even on the charity ones, the punter days as well.
And trying to load 4 guys up, including myself, for a round of golf, like that can take 18 months to figure out a date that works for everyone. And if I keep saying yes to all of it, I just have no time to myself.
What does it look like if you do turn up at a course? Are general everyday people double taking and like making a real beeline towards you? You get a gallery?
Again, I mean, this sounds really dickish, but I've started, if I go play at home, I generally don't put my name down. I get, that sounds like I'm a massive wanker.
Brian Cox.
No, I've seen that. Well, just like, I don't, like my mates are like, do you want to play Saturday? I'll be like, yeah, I'll play. And they'll just be like, okay, well, we'll put one of our other useless mates in, and you just turn up and swap in on Saturday morning. Because, like, not saying that we're going to have a gallery, but there legitimately could be 3 or 4 guys coming around, and like, I got no problem in a tournament with me. I got no problem with them following me. But my mates don't want them following, especially with how bad our language is and how bad their golf can be. Like, well, they don't, I don't want to put that on them.
I actually thought you were going to go, I do turn up the course, but I go glasses, funny hat, like wigs.
Guys.
There's definitely, like, I've noticed it more over the last few years as well. Like, if I'm at a hole near the clubhouse, like, people will come out and watch if they're having a drink and stuff like that. And it's weird to get used to, but it's all kind of part of it as well. And, I guess I grew up with it with Dad a little bit, like people stopping him in the street. That's happened far more in the last few years than it ever did. And, I guess they're all good problems to have. It means you must be doing something right.
Do you get that at Tiaki when you're playing there? People sort of coming up to you and...
No, they're just ducking for cover from like balls off the tee. Right, we spoke to quite a few people close to you in the build-up to this one, as is our way.
I'm nervous about this.
And there was a common thread that everyone mentioned, which is your WhatsApp chat group with your best mates. And we're keen to start there. So your coach, Marcus Wheelhouse, reckons you spend around 5 hours a day on it. Your wife, Arnica, said it's pretty up there on your list of priorities. And your dad, Grant, said it's great for you as it keeps you grounded because your mates basically just give you shit the whole time. We were lucky enough to talk to one of the lads in the group who goes by the name of Phil McCracken.
Well, it is his actual name. It doesn't go by the name. It is his actual name.
Yeah, we weren't sure about that. And I want to work through some of the stuff he's told us because it's really good.
Oh, dear.
So Phil said, the dynamic of the group is that it's lads Foxy's played golf with for over 20 years. Some of the atrocities that go on in that chat are unspeakable, but usually most of it is directed at Fox. We like to think of it as having a very grounding effect on him, but I'd be interested to hear his opinion on that.
Yeah, he's right in that regard. I mean, I think it would be very similar to most boys' chats in New Zealand. There is compliments are very few and far between. You have to do something either exceptionally well or be going through a really, really bad spell for one of them to be like, yeah, mate, well done. You know, that was really good. Like, most of the time is, oh, you fat prick, stop doing this. Or, like, I get shit for my dress sense. I get shit for my shirt being untucked. Every time I have a bad couple of holes, finishing a tournament, I get asked, how was the ambulance ride on the way home? That could, like, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it is. I think Mark, everyone you quoted was probably right there. It's probably a little too high up my list of priorities.
Is it because you don't want to miss out on something?
Yeah. It's straight FOMO because like a lot of it as well is like. Boys don't really ring each other, do they? Like, that's I'm away for 7 or 8 months a year. That's my line to back home. They're the guys that I hang out with when I'm home. We, as PMac said, we've played golf together for more than 20 years. I've known Phil and my best mate Nick May since intermediate school. We played golf together since we're like 10 or 11 years old. So, like, it's a pretty long-standing friendship there, and like our wives are good friends. All our kids are the same age. There's 15 kids in that group, and 12 of them are girls. I don't know how that worked out, but it's awesome, and it's like they don't give a shit that I play on the PGA Tour and whatever. Like, there's the name of the chat right now is Chasing the Canadian Squirtle Cheat, which Squirtle was their nickname for Myrtle Beach. And I think we have a yearly comp between us, and it's pretty hard it's a golf comp. It's really hard to organise a comp that kind of works we've got obviously me playing on tour, got another mate who lives in Adelaide who we played golf with since he was 12. He turned pro. His name's Campbell Rawson. He won on the Aussie Tour. He plays off like +4 socially now. And then everyone else in the group plays back here and ranges between like 3 and 10 or 11 index. So, like, trying to get a game for a year that kind of evens out.
It's so good, though.
And I'm leading this year's comps, hence it's chatting the...
Yeah.
And then one of our mates is renowned for... not being very good at counting, so he gets called a cheat quite often.
Phil McCracken continues.
Real name.
Obviously, up until maybe the last 2 years, Fox has played all his golf in Europe. So whenever he's been in contention in Europe, the chat is just alive and humming from about 11 p.m. at night till 5 in the morning. Usually there's a number of side chats that don't have Fox in it, as we are absolutely berating him for missing a 4-footer on the 15th while he's in the lead.
That happens in the normal chat too, by the way.
Every now and then, the odd message would slip into the main chat, basically describing to Fox what an absolute moron and idiot he was, unintentionally, but then we would forget to go back and scrub it out of the chat. So there's been a few occasions where he'd maybe had a difficult loss in a playoff, and he's just trundled back into the chat, and one of the first messages he sees is, "Fox, you absolute f***ing idiot, how could you miss a 3-footer?" That must be nice for him. Is that nice for you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, so it's kind of like... it just reinforces it in my head. But, like, I know, like, deep down they all want me to do well. They'll never say it, but, like, it's all coming from a good place. And I know they're riding it hard, like really, really hard. And they've done some late nights, staying up and watching and whinge their asses off for having to go to work on a Monday morning. And I don't feel sorry for them in that regard, even if I have lost. But yeah, like I think the record I've seen in a chat for a morning was the first Open I played in 2015 was at St. Andrews. And I woke up one morning and there was, it was after my round. After my round, there was like 1,000 messages in that chat.
Did you scroll to the top?
I was just like, I kind of read half of it. I'm like, this is all bullshit. I'm not reading the rest of this. And that I will say that tends to happen a lot. Like if I'm playing and they get on a rant and they're watching it, like, and if it's late at night and there's a few drinks going on, like I know that most of it is just absolute drivel and I'm not going to worry about reading it. But there's definitely like a few comments in there that are like absolute gold. Like if you do happen to kind of skim read it, there's a couple in there and like no one's safe. Everyone seems to go through a turn in the chat where it's like, we're just going to pick on you this week.
And it's just the focus just switches to somebody else.
Yeah. So like I try to get my own back quite a lot, but it's, you do get, like, there is the odd one that I wait, like, after a round, I've had a bad round, and it comes into group chat. I'm like, can you guys just off? But, like, then after cooling down for 5 minutes, I'm like, yeah, okay, I know, like, deep down, it's meant from the right place. They're pissed off for me, and, like, but it just comes out as you're a useless fat and stop missing parts.
There's some positives to it too, and he talks about how the sort of the betting culture in the group has spawned in what they refer to as the yearly Ryan Fox mega bonus, which is two things, he says. One is it's fucking awesome for us, but two, it showcases one of Foxy's awesome attributes of how sublimely generous he is. It's usually some golf-related feat.
You sure that came from him?
It's
a compliment.
It's a compliment.
Genuine.
There's a few more to come as well. Yeah.
He said he was going to put it in the chat, but he decided not to. He just gave it to us instead.
Yeah. Can you tell us about the mega bonus and what's involved and how it works?
So, the mega, like, I can't even remember where it started. Phil started it. He remembered saying, what's our bonus or something for the year. And I think they haven't had a hole-in-one. So there's 7 of us in the group chat. 2 of us are pros. So the 2 pros have had a hole-in-one. The rest of them haven't had a hole-in-one between the 5 of them, which, considering they've all played golf for over 20 years and have all played off single figures, like, I don't know if that's shit or just really unlucky, but it's like, it kind of came from that. Like, our first comp started as our yearly comp started as a 2s comp, and it kind of morphed into some weird stuff from there. And the mega bonus kind of came of, well, we should get something when we finally get a hole-in-one. So I put up the Masters do a custom putter every year. There's 250 of them, and it's all engraved. Like, I think the first one I got's got like the 12th hole engraved on the back of it. It's got a cool head cover, like a custom Masters grip. It's got, you know, what its number of 250, and it's like, I mean, it's like $1,200 US or something like that. And I've kind of put one of them up the last couple of years if any one of those jackasses has a hole-in-one. And to be honest, like, I think there might have been like 3 times I've even been remotely close to having a hole-in-one in 3 years. Like, I've not looked like losing that putter. So I've got another one up this year. And then we kind of decided that the fact that They haven't looked like having a hole-in-one. They should actually have something that they might actually be able to win. And I think it was last year for the first time, we put up, I said, okay, well, if any of you shoot under par, and they've all shot under par once each, if any of you shoot under par, I'll cover you for a day, play both courses at Tiari, like food, drinks, all on me. And somehow, there's a couple of the boys are good, and this is me giving them a compliment. Like they are real solid, like 4 or 5 handicappers, can hit it, make a whole lot of dumbass mistakes, and don't play to their handicap very often. But you watch them hit it, you're like, okay, you guys can play. And if I managed to walk them around a golf course and made some of the decisions for them and told them what club to hit, they probably would be 4 handicappers. And they give themselves a chance once a year to shoot under par, and most of the time just choke massively. But one of our boys last year, who played off 10, shot 2 under at Royal Auckland, which is a pretty good round of golf. And so I had to cover him at the end of last year, two rounds up at Tiari. The amazing thing was he bookended it with 88. He shot 88, 70, 88. And you're like, how the does that happen? But so we carried that on again this year. That that bonus is still on the table. The putter bonus is still on the table. I think I also had another bonus for them when I qualified for the Masters in 23. I'd had a long-standing bet. If I ever get to the Masters, you boys are coming. They rode 2022 out. They were nervy because I got in the top 50 finally, and had a chance of making the Masters. And I'm pretty sure the back end of 2022 was pretty nerve-wracking for those boys because they knew if I stayed in the top 50, they'd get to go to the Masters. And so they did. And I said, okay, well, if anyone shoots under par, I'll cover your flights to the Masters. And then for one of the other boys, I had a side bet. He'd got to the lowest handicap of all of them, and he'd never shot under par. So we had a 2-year bet through COVID and various other things that if he shot under par, it started as money like $100, and it went to 200, then went to like 500, and we're like, nah, this is not doing it for either of us. Like if you shoot under par, if you don't shoot under par by the end of 2022. You've got to do a bungee jump, and he's shit scared of heights.
Like terrified of heights.
Terrified of heights. Like literally you stand him on that shelf there and he'll be scared. And my punishment, if he shot under par, was being a vegetarian for a month. And I do not like veggies.
Yeah. So five times a day meat is what Phil's...
Yeah, that sounds about right. So that was like the side bet of that. And then, so I won the 2022 bet, but then the guy... He shot under par like 3 weeks before going to the Masters. So I had to cover his flights. But then I managed to say, well, he's notoriously bad at paying up bets. I said, well, the only way you're getting your Masters ticket is if you actually do a bungee jump before we go to the Masters. So he had to do the Harbour Bridge bungee like a week before we went to the Masters, and his wife was sending me photos of it. He had to take a Xanax before getting up because there was no way. He couldn't even do the walk across to it.
Oh, good.
And eventually he did it, and it all worked out. But yeah, there's a lot of... side bets and gambling in that group, and I don't tend to see much of the payoff for it.
But how good that you are on those big bets that you made. Your mates are benefiting from it. That does speak to that generosity that Phil's talking about.
Yeah, we also have another one that there's a black tea challenge at Royal Auckland every 3 months, and they always play in that. And we set a wine bet. So I'm the bank. So it's $100 bottle of wine, and I've got to set a line for them to beat. So obviously, if they beat it, they win. If it's on the line, it's a push, and if it's over the line, they have to pay me. And I'm generally pretty generous in that, but they whinge their asses off bartering for. They're on 4.5, and I give them like 84 to beat. And they're like, no, it's not enough. I'm like, guys are shit. Like, come on. And I'd say I'm probably down a couple of bottles, but kind of like, again, that's my way. I don't get to play in it. I'm away overseas. It's kind of my way of being like, okay, let's keep it interesting. I want to and the banter in the chat around that day and some of the live commentary going down of, oh yeah, I started like par, and then white one out of bounds and made 9, and like it's the 4 rounds of golf a year that they get no gimmies, and if they hit one out of bounds, they have to finish the hole. So it's kind of fun watching them torture themselves trying to play real golf for once.
Phil, I want to talk a little bit about the Masters because the boys are involved here. Phil said the Masters in general is a crazy story for us as the boys, because it was a childhood dream and a promise to his mates that if he ever got to the Masters, he'd take us. And then it's quite a shocking moment when he actually goes good on that promise. Just so primo for us, and also testament to the sort of dude Fox is. There you go, another nice thing said about him. Said about you.
It's like the 4 nicest things he's ever said to me.
But then he leads into ask him about the hospitality that his management company, Wasserman, provided for family and friends at the Masters.
Yeah, so they've got exceptionally lucky in 23. So obviously, like, everything worked out with me taking them. So, like, I had to cover one of the guys' flights, but outside of that, like, they paid their own way. They booked a house all together. We're at a house with my mum and dad just down the street. My best mate stayed with us, and then there was I think there was 8 or 9 of them in a different house. So you can imagine that, one house was very loose and one house was a little bit serious. But like, we went down there for dinners and stuff like that. And then, like, my management company, Wasserman, like, every year for the Masters, they get a house, which is they provide hospitality for players and families. And it's just because Augusta's just a complete mess during Masters week. Like, it's really hard to go out for dinners. They do it just, the Masters is exclusive, and they just want the players to go and not worry about that kind of stuff. And that year, they got a deal on a house that was like, would have been way outside the budget they'd normally spend. Like, someone had put us like $50,000 deposit on this huge house pretty close to Augusta, and then pulled out last minute, and Wasserman got it at a steal. And so my manager, a guy called Ian Keenan, he knew the boys. He'd met the boys at various tournaments over the years that they'd come to individually. He said, look, we'll get them there one night. And then the boys were pretty excited about that anyway. And then once they saw the house, the boss of Wasserman was like, look, we need this place full. So just, like, it's free reign, basically. Oh, no. So I've said to them, okay, you boys, like, we went the first night, they had a blast. Like, it was, free booze, like, different meals every night, like American barbecue one night, pizzas one night. They get it properly catered they've had the same chef do it for like 10 years or something like that, and he's awesome. And so, like, the first night we roll in and everything's all good, and like, all the players are rolling in, Cam Smith, Victor Hovland, Tony Finau, all of those guys are there, and like, my mates are just like and then this house had a bowling alley, right? So we commandeered the bowling alley, like, later on in the year, like, it's 9:00, and I'm like, I'm not bowling because I don't want to up my wrist or anything. So I'm just sitting there watching them, and they're bowling and having a great time, having a few drinks, nothing too crazy. And then Victor Hovland pokes his head around the corner just as one of my mates is trying to hit a spear. And it was like the last pin in the far corner, and he knocks the spear down, and Hovey just looks at him and goes, nice. And then Hovey walks out, and my mate's like, oh, that was so good. Like, Hovey saw him hit a spear. So, like, they had a great night. I get a photo, like, I left because I was playing the next day. They stayed on for like an hour. Marcus, my coach, was there as well, and mum and dad and stuff. And I get a photo of them, like, sitting on the couch with John Daly, like, a couple of them. Phil was one of them, sitting with John Daly. Like, they're like, so they were like, this is pretty cool. And then so I went back on Friday night, and I started to get pretty sick. I ended up with pneumonia that first year I played the Masters. And so, like, I went on Friday night, and then Saturday, like, I barely got out of bed. I was in pieces. And I didn't go back on Saturday night, like, had a real quiet night just in our house. And the boys still had their standing invite to go. So, like, 8 of them roll up to the Wasserman house. And this is one where I wake up in the morning to like 50 or 60 messages in this group chat. And so they drank the place dry. So they went, so they were on the reds. They weren't, like, no one let them touch the expensive bourbons. Apparently they had a couple of those, like, Pappy Van Winkle bottles of bourbon there. They're like $1,000 bottles of bourbon. They were for select people, which my mates were not those select people. But they had some really nice wines. The boys love wine, and they went through all the wine that was supposed to be drunk, plus they had an extra case of just-in-case wine, which got drunk. And then they ended up upstairs in the house playing table tennis till like 1 a.m. And then I get a photo of one of our mates who passed out on the couch, and he raided the cupboard first, and I said there's a photo of him eating a bowl of cereal at like 1:30 in the morning in this house that he's a guest of, and then he's just out flat on his back on the couch afterwards, and I'm like, well, you guys had a big night, and I sort of jokingly went and apologized to the head of Wasserman.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry, my mates are idiots. And he's like, no, I loved it. Like it was great that I was like, they had such a good time, but I think they probably took it a little bit too far. And he's like, no, it was great. It was exactly what we wanted. But the greatest part of that is, they all wanted to come back to the Masters next year now that I've qualified. And we managed, the mate that passed out, obviously he was a little bit too drunk. We managed to rope him into having to talk to the boss of Wasserman and apologize. But so we stitched him up properly.
Yeah.
He didn't know that it was all good, and we just told him that you're an idiot. You've got you ate this guy's cereal at 1:30 in the morning. He's really pissed off, and he was like, no, surely not. And then I got my manager to pose as the head of Wasserman, and good. gave him my manager's phone number and said, hey, look, he's expecting a call. Like, you're not allowed back in that house at all for next year if you end up and they look after all my, I said, look, they look after all my tickets. They're the ones that dish it out. Like, you're not allowed back if you don't apologize. So we hung it over him for like 3 months, and eventually.
Is there a side thread with everyone else?
Yeah. Everyone else got the private message. We're like, hey, we're stitching him up here, and everyone's like, we're massively on board for this. So like, it was done well enough that he was like, I think they're bullshitting, but he then texts my manager saying, hey,
it's legit,
but it's Wade here, just like want to apologize, like let me know when I can give you a call. And then as soon as he sent that through, we're like, haha, shame, dickhead, we got you. And he's like, you guys, I hate you. And he's not actually going anywhere. He can't make it work. But it was quite fun holding that over him for a little while.
Yeah. This is epic. One more story before we get into a little bit of legit golf chat. Phil said to ask you about an ill-fated trip to Tasmania where it was blowing so hard that you thought you were going to lose your game and abruptly left and took a minivan to the airport despite it being day 2 of a 4-day trip. You'll certainly have some views on that.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm going to blame Phil squarely for this. So he'd taken a trip to Tasmania to play Barnbougle, Cape Wickham, Ocean Dunes, and Lost Farms, the other one at Barnbougle. So like he'd played it a year or two earlier, and he's like, boys, we've got to do a boys trip. Like, this will be unbelievable. And he got like perfect weather when he went there. And so we were like, yeah, this would be great. And the only time we could all do it, and this included, I think there was 5 of us that went on this trip. And the only weekend I could make it work was the weekend before the Aussie Open. So it was fairly big event. And so we roll in, we land in Melbourne. You've got to take this little 8-seater pencil plane to
That's not it.
Yeah, across the Bass Strait or whatever it is, and it was like Bluebird Day, perfect, no wind, flying in like this. This is amazing. We go out, have a chipping comp that after, staying on site at Cape Wickham, which is at King Island. Like have chipping comps all evening, like have a few drinks, whatever. It was real fun. Turn up the next day. And I'm going to stitch Phil up properly. So Phil had bought a brand new set of clubs before getting on this golf trip, right? He stands on the range, that golf trip, the first morning of the golf trip, hits 17 shanks in a row. So he was in a bad space at that point. And so we play in a 5-ball at Wickham. This is all single-figure golfers. We played 2 rounds at Wickham that day, and we lose 70 golf balls between us. We had it got to a point halfway through the first round, like, we got to count this because it's getting bad. Like, it was really, really.
I'm not a golfer. I feel like that's a lot of golf balls.
That's what I'd go through.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, we get completely beaten up that day. I'm pretty sure I had a full head off at Wickham with the wind. Phil's hitting shanks through golf cart windows, like from the middle of the fairway, like, literally parked where you are on that angle. He's hitting that way, and he shanked one through the cart window into the Pacific Ocean. Like, we've got videos of him trying to hit off a beach and then shanking it further into the water. Like, it's horrific. One of our boys in the afternoon who played off, I think, 11 for the day, he had a par net birdie on 17 to have 11 Stableford points total for that afternoon round. So it was like carnage. Yeah. So that kind of set the scene of like, oh, this is going to be interesting. Then the next day we go and play Ocean Dunes, which is a great course. Turn up in the morning, it's pissing rain, blowing sideways. We play, and then we've got to jump on this like 8-seater pencil plane. It's like, an hour and a half flight to Tasmania. And so we've got this pilot who's like 10 years younger than us who's flying the plane. So two of our guys aren't very good at flying either. So they're pretty nervous getting on the plane. And then one of the guys, you could tell it was blowing like 30 or 40 mile an hour when we were playing at Ocean Dunes. And then it dawned on him that he had to get on a plane after this round of golf, and he just was a complete sack of shit for the rest of the round.
Head loss.
So we jump on the plane, go across, and we hear "oh shit" twice from the pilot. First time is we're like we're above the clouds, and he goes "oh shit," and we're all like this, all got headphones on, and we're all like what? And he goes, "This is the fastest I've been on this plane. We're doing like 400 knots," and he goes, "Yeah, we've got like 150 knot, 200 knot wind up our ass right now." And we're like, okay. And then it's like I had that marine layer of cloud down, and we come down as we're nearing Tasmania. Obviously, we can't see anything. Come down through the clouds, and he goes, "Oh shit!" again. And we're, "What?" He goes, "Oh, that cloud was a lot lower than I thought it was." And we come out like a couple of 100 feet above the ocean. So yeah, we like land it.
Has he got a little side thread with his other pilots? Probably
had us going. Like I remember I was like busting for a piss, and I had to literally jump off on the runway when we landed at Barnbougle to piss on the runway. It's a sand runway, it was fine. But like it just like that whole it just got messy. And then so we were supposed to play like 36 at Wickham, 18 at Ocean Dunes, land at Barnbougle, play 18 in the afternoon, play 36 the next day, then play like Tuesday morning, and then I was due to fly to the Aussie Open. And then we go and play Barnbougle the afternoon we landed. And I played all right. I remember getting to like 17 on like 1 under for the day. And then we get to 18, and 18's like a 400-meter par 4. And I've hit driver 2-iron, pitching wedge in there straight into the wind. And I'm like, this is just not good. At that point I'm thinking this is probably not great prep for the Aussie Open. and then the next day, so we go and play Lost Farm the next day, and like one of the tee boxes is so windy we can't even stand up. Like it's literally blowing like 70 mile an hour.
It sounded like this walkaway is justifiable.
It's basically unplayable, but the only reason we're there is because we're on a boys trip and we're playing. And so we're sitting at lunch after just getting beaten to a pulp. And, all the boys are like, I don't know if I'm going to go this afternoon. Like, it's pretty shit. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm happy with that. I don't need to go. And then so they made the call like, yep, we're done. We're just going to sit. They've got a TAB and a bar there. We're just going to sit in the TAB all afternoon and punt on whatever's on TV. And the forecast for the next day was just as bad. And I'm kind of looking at my phone, and it's like, it's Monday afternoon. I'm like, if I'm not going to play golf tomorrow, I may as well go to Sydney. And I had a look, and there was a flight from Launceston to Sydney direct on a jet. And I'm like, I just made the call. I'm like, boys, this is shit. Like, I got the Aussie Open next week. Like,
I'm out.
I'm out. Like, if we're not playing golf this afternoon and it's going to be just as shit tomorrow, like, I'm out. Sorry. And literally just walked to my room, packed my bags, fucked off.
Yeah.
And I got plenty of shit for it, but like, they only played 9 holes the next day and hated every second of it. So, like, I feel justified. I think
justified.
I made the cut of the Aussie Open. I didn't play very well, but it was like I was texting them on the Tuesday morning playing a practice round, and it was blowing a little bit in Sydney, but at least I could stand up. And I'm like, shame, boys, you guys got to play. And we're like, no, we went out and hacked it for 9 holes and we're done. Like, that's it. So, like, yeah, I deservedly cop shit, but I also feel like in terms of I made the right decision.
I feel like the lads would have been sort of hate watching you in the Aussie Open. You must have been flying, not wanting you to do well.
I will say they did not like the flight back. I heard it was like a 2-hour flight back from Bumbu on another little pencil plane. So I didn't miss.
How did the clubs on the little plane? Just at a.
Everyone took carry bags and just like
unnecessary detail.
No, there's no toilet. Like everyone just shoved it in the back and was like, that's it.
Yeah. All right. There's been a great start. We have got some. There's lots we want to talk about. So. Last time we had you on was 3 years ago. You just won the Ras Al Khaimah and you were kind of chasing a dream. You're figuring out life on tour. Fast forward to present day, 2 PGA Tour wins, Masters appearance. You got 2 kids under 5 now. You got bases on both sides of the world. 3 years seems like a lifetime ago, but I'm interested in you reflecting on that time period. Like, has your mindset shifted? Like, what has been the catalyst for change since we've seen you last?
I don't really know. Like, obviously, like I won in 22 last time we spoke, and then the rest of 22 just went great guns. And got in the top 50 in the world, got into the Masters, and I don't know, maybe it was just a belief thing that it was like, I probably always believed that I was good enough, but hadn't proved it to myself. And 22 was the year that I won a couple of times in Europe. I had a bunch of top 10s. I played really well in some big events. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I am actually one of the better players in the world. And, 23 kind of cemented that. Like I played really well in some big events, some of those bigger PGA Tour events. The first time really playing on the PGA Tour, played the Masters and played Bay Hill, the Players, the Match Play, all of those events I kind of dreamed of growing up. And felt like my game stacked up pretty well. And it just became a kind of a natural progression that the expectation was there that, if I turn up on a week, I can compete. And it just got, I wouldn't say easy is not the right word. It just, I felt more comfortable in those kind of scenarios. And it was like, okay, well, it didn't feel like that much of a step playing in those events and playing on the PGA Tour and all of that. It probably took a little bit longer to get used to playing on the PGA Tour than I expected in 2024, but still felt like my game was good enough to compete with those guys. And then obviously this year, again, kind of proved that to myself.
23, I think Annika said, was quite a rough year away from the golf course.
Yeah.
Like a family illness, I think the birth of Margot. It was a tough year. She kind of describes it as a blur. But how do you reflect on that year?
Yeah, a blur would be probably the best description for it. So, obviously, 22 was so good. I played my way into the top 50. I knew I was going to get in all those big events that I wanted to play. It was the last year that top 50 in the world rankings kind of meant a lot. You still get in the majors, but that was the year you got in, Bay Hill, the Players, Match Play, Memorial, a bunch of those massive PGA Tour events. It was the first year of those signature events. I got to play in a few of those, and Margot was due in May 23, and then not long before Margot was born, both of Annika's parents were diagnosed with cancer. So mum had breast cancer. Her dad was, and this is pretty sad, but her dad was on a trip to watch Bay Hill and the Players with my brother-in-law, and so he was all good. He was 71, fit as you'd like. Didn't drink much. Did still a bunch of exercises. Played golf. 3 or 4 times a week. Loved fishing. Loved boating. That kind of stuff. So he came on a trip with us. Walked 10 rounds of golf in 2 weeks. We went out to dinner with my brother-in-law every night. We had a great trip, and at the end of the trip, it's like, oh, my back's a bit sore, and he'd had some back issues over the years, and we're kind of giving him shit about it, just, take a couple of pain pills and have a beer, you'll be fine. Gets home, he can't get out of bed. His wife had just been diagnosed with cancer at that point, and then, to cut a long story short, he goes and sees a couple of people about it, and what we thought was back issues was tumor wrapped around his spine. It was, by the time all the scans had been done, it was everywhere. And that was I found out about that the Sunday night of the Masters in 2023. So they'd kept that from me for a week or two because they knew the Masters was such a big thing. And then I had pneumonia at the time as well. So that kind of just like was like, oh shit, this is like Sunday night of the Masters was just a massive downer for me on a bunch of levels. And I remember the next week, I was in Hilton Head, which is another signature event, and I was sick as a dog. I was like, I just want to come home. My wife's like, no, you can't. Like, we've got both my parents are sick at our house. Like, we don't know what you have. And I tried to play a round of golf. I pulled out after 9 holes. I'm like, I'm done. I can't. It literally manifested itself as I can't. Like, I don't even want to be here. Like, I need to be somewhere else. And I was coming last anyway. I think at that point, pulled out and just basically said, I'm coming home. I'm going to go to mum and dad's, whatever. Like, and then got home. I got diagnosed with pneumonia. We kind of found out the extent of what my father-in-law was going through. So it was pretty heavy. And then I think I had 4 weeks off between events. And Margot was born during those 4 weeks. My father-in-law was in hospital, in the same hospital she was born in. Thankfully, he was the first one to meet Margot, which was, in that respect, pretty cool. But yeah, like he was in a bad way at that point. And then, like, I think after that, like a week after Margot was born, I had the PGA Championship. So I left, a 1 week old, 1.5 week old baby, two in-laws sick in our house at home. Like, it was pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And I I played well at the PGA. I finished top 25 there. What do I have next? Memorial? I can't even remember. Like, I had 3 tournaments in a row, whatever. Came home again, like my father-in-law at that point, and then got sent to hospice care. So you kind of know at that point it's no good. Like, he was on treatment, and it was like one of those Hail Marys. Hey, look, we've had stuff like this happen, but the chances of it actually working are pretty slim. And then, like, I remember going to we're in hospice, and I had to go out to the US Open. It was an LA country club, and like, obviously, don't really give a shit about the US Open, but it's the US Open. I want to go. I remember saying to him on that, like, Sunday night, like, he was still knew what was going on, and like, it was like, yeah, that's the last time I'm probably going to speak to him, and that was pretty heavy going away. And then, went away. I think luckily for my sake, I had one of my good mates had come up. Another one of my mates was coming for the weekend. My manager was there. He kind of knew what was going on. And it's probably the worst I've treated myself during a golf tournament. Like, I'm pretty sure I got pissed like 3 or 4 nights that week. Like, it was just one of those things. Like, I don't know how else I'm going to deal with this. Just sat there and, went to a wine bar one night, got absolutely battered on a Tuesday night for no other reason, because that's just what I felt like doing. Actually made the cut in the US Open, and I remember I got off the golf course pretty late Friday afternoon, and I had a text from my wife saying, "Can you call?" And I knew exactly what this call was about, and it was an awful phone call. Yeah, it was. That was pretty. I was really close with my father-in-law as well. Like, we bonded heavily over golf and fishing. Like, he taught me basically everything I knew about boating and stuff like that, and I got him into various other forms of fishing that he was fairly old school, and bait and burley and stuff, and I was into lure fishing, got him into that, and we did every New Year's, I'd bring him up in the middle of the week and say, Mike, do you want to go fishing? And he'd be like, yep, done, and drop everything and go fishing. So yeah, that was pretty tough, and obviously my wife dealing with that with a 1 month old. Like, I think it was, for him, it was something like 8 weeks between diagnosis and death. So that hit the family pretty hard. My sister-in-law was just about to have their second baby as well. So it was like, from that side of the family, it was just all over the place. And, obviously I still had to go through and try to play golf through all of that. I think I had another trip to like the Scottish Open and the Open later in the year. And then, that whole period, like early 23, was a complete and utter mess. And I still somehow managed to play half decent golf during it. I think I went back and forth to the States and Europe like 5 times that year, which is not normal. Like, normally we'd have a base overseas, and I'd travel from there. Like, we did London for about 8 years. We're now in the US, and that just like 23 was a year that obviously none of that could happen. And then we went over as a family towards the end of the year in 23. I think we did 8 weeks in Europe together, and that was like the first time. Like, obviously it was really hard. Like, my wife was really close with her dad. It was really tough, like a really tough scenario. I think her mum came up at the back end of that trip as well, but it was a tough trip away, but it was like the first time things, from my point of view, felt normal. Like, I don't know, I don't think things felt normal for my wife for quite a long time after that, but, and then still, like, the back end of 23, I won at Wentworth, and that sort of locked up my PGA Tour card for 24, and, like, I look back at 23, it's just a very strange year. Like, I don't know how I kind of split the off the golf course stuff and the on the golf course stuff, because normally there's a pretty decent correlation for it. Like, if you're happy off the golf course, it generally means I'm playing good golf on the golf course, but, like, that didn't happen in 23. I'm not, like, there was just so much going on, and, like, I don't know how it didn't affect the golfers that much. But, I look back at 23 like it was a massive year for me in terms of career, but it was a pretty fucking awful year for the family.
As you were saying that,
I know I say that we had our second kid as well, so there was like a bunch of joy in there.
Yeah,
like you look at it and you like,
it's a washing machine of emotions, right?
Complete mess.
But from the outside, like, you never know what someone's going through. You never know all of that stuff. Like, I didn't know all that stuff was happening behind the scenes. I would watch you on the screen and see you make the cut and think, oh, he's had an off day, or he's doing well today. But there's so much behind it. And I think golf, more than any other sport, is that the mentality and dealing with every single shot and decision. And if you've got stuff that's clouding your judgment or your thought pattern, I'm keen to talk a little bit about the sort of mental side of golf as we go along. But it's interesting that you sort of succeeded despite all that, right? Like, what do you think about that?
I almost think, to an extent, golf was the escape from it.
I wonder about that, yeah.
It was like, other than maybe the US Open, where I couldn't get away from it, like, golf was the 6 hours a day with the warm-up and everything, that I could not think about anything else that was going on, how shitty the rest of it was, and how, like, how messed up the whole scenario was. I could just go out and go, well, I'm just going to whack a little white ball. Like, and I think because my golf game was in good shape as well, so in that sense, like, there wasn't that much to think about. It was like, okay, just go fucking hit it and it's fine, and I'll kind of figure it out from there. And I also had I think too, with a lot of those events, it was all new stuff. Event-wise, it was all events that I'd dreamed of playing. So in terms of getting in, like, I could still be excited about that side of it, rather than go back and think of what was going on at home and stuff. Like, I don't really, like, Arnica described it the best, like, the whole thing was a blur. It just ended up like, okay, just go and play and see what happens. And it, like, other than the US Open, where the weekend, I literally didn't give a shit about how I played. Like, the rest of it was just kind of like, well, just go and play and see what happens. And it like, I was in a good space golf-wise, and it was just kind of easy to compartmentalize it and just be like, this is golf. The rest of it I can deal with after golf, and just leave it like that.
That was exactly what I was going to say. What an exercise in compartmentalization of dealing with this when it's there, dealing with that when it's there, and I guess, dealing with what's in front of you.
And, like, I probably, from the family point of view, like, I know Arnica and I was good at doing it at home too. Like, obviously the whole thing of her mum being sick and her dad passing away, like, that hung over us. And I was like, I kind of dealt with it like, well, I've just got to do this. Like, this is what I've got to do. And the other stuff can be put away for another time, and I can deal with it when I feel like I've got time. But in terms of some kids stuff and some golf stuff, it was like I didn't probably look like I mourned like I should have, and kind of dealt with it differently than what might have been expected. But it was like, it just became a process of compartmentalization, going, look, this is awful, but I can park it somewhere back here and deal with it when I feel like I can deal with it. But I feel like I've got so much other stuff going on, I've just got to deal with some of that now as well.
If I move you into 2024, I spoke to Marcus, your coach, about what he saw, and he said it's not one big thing that changed. It's like a culmination of little small things. But the serious injury you had in 2024, the hip tear, was kind of described as a bit of a catalyst to get fitter and in better shape and set you up for 2025. Do you see that as quite sort of fundamental in your change?
Yeah. I mean, 24 was pretty hard. We traveled as a family for like 20 weeks at the start of the season, which anyone that's traveled with kids knows that's young kids, it's pretty hard. And we were dragging a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old around for like 20 weeks in a row with no base. So I think, and still dealing with some of the stuff that had gone on the year before. And it was it wasn't enjoyable for any of us. It was hard. And that, I think I was still probably a bit burnt out and tired from the year before. All of that stuff that happened in 23 kind of caught up with me in 24.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it like coming out of the box and now you're having to deal with some of it?
Not necessarily the mental stuff, but just the fatigue and all the travel and stuff that I'd done the year before. Like I didn't really get much of a break at the end of 24, and then you go in to 25 and it's like, okay, well it's all go. It's PGA Tour cart. Like I've got full status. I've got to do this. Like everything was new, trying to learn new golf courses. Like there was a whole bunch of other stuff lumped in. You can't do the US being not in the US. So yeah, we're like, okay, we'll just go over as a family and see what happens. And like the whole thing was a bit messy. Like the stuff for me that tends to fall off quickly is the gym and that kind of stuff. So like I was pretty useless at that at the end of 23. I was pretty useless at that through most of 23 as well. And then, I probably ballooned to like 105, maybe a little more. And I'd probably got away with it because my golf was pretty good in 23 and didn't really think much of it. And, didn't do much in my off season was like, f this, I'm just having a break. Like I don't want to see golf clubs and don't want to see gym and don't want to do this. I want to see a fishing rod and spend some time with friends and family and try to enjoy myself. And then, go into that in 24, you're traveling around with the kids and it's like, well, you've got all the other commitments of having kids on the road. And so all of that stuff kind of just disappeared out the window. And I don't remember hurting myself or injuring myself, but I remember conversations with Marcus, and also I had a coach based in the UK at the time, Jamie Goff, who through COVID was my tour coach. I think we probably spoke about this last time that, Jamie was a big catalyst for everything changing, having someone there every week when Marcus couldn't travel, and working through stuff in 24, there was a bunch of look, you need to do this. And in my head, I'm like, I can't do it. I don't know why, but I can't do this in my golf swing like I always used. Physically, it just felt weird. And I've got the thing that I didn't slack off on was physio treatment. I've had a physio in Europe for years. I got a physio in the States that's there basically every week. So it's 45 minutes before a round, 45 minutes after a round. And there was always a little pinching in my right hip every time it was pushed up or put in a slightly weird position, but it was never painful walking. It was never painful in the golf swing. But I felt like I couldn't do what I wanted to do in my golf swing. And finally, when I got home at the end of the FedEx Cup season, which was August, I had a couple of weeks at home before going to Europe, and remember sitting down with Marcus and probably not enjoying my golf, not enjoying things very much, but I'd played well enough to kind of still be in there to keep a card. And it's what's going on? And I'm like, I just feel like I can't do anything. I got a little bit of pinching in my right hip. It gets tight quickly. So he's like, why don't you just go get a scan on it? And I'd play with one of my mates who's my sports doctor as well. And Sam May is his name. And he's just like, we'll just get you a scan. And probably nothing, but we'll just get you a scan. And then the scan came back and he's like, yeah, you've got a torn labrum and it's about a third of it's torn.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm like, it was almost the aha moment, oh, okay. So it wasn't all just me. Well, obviously the hip, but it wasn't me just feeling shit and not being able to do something. It was actually physically I couldn't do it. And then I sort of tossed up between going to Europe and not, and almost taking a medical for the back end of the year. And Sam was like, look, I don't think you can do any more damage to it. Go and play at the Irish Open, see if it's bad. And if it's still bad, then we'll get your cortisone, at least make it through the end of the year, and we'll see what happens. So I didn't play very good at the Irish Open. I turned up at Wentworth as a defending champion, and I don't have a clue where it's going to go. And I'm paired with Rory and Justin Rose. I'm like, I'm going to literally kill someone this week. Like, legitimately, like, my face is plastered 70 foot high on the pool board at the back of the 18th green. And it's like, at that point, I know I can't, like, my golf game isn't where it needs to be, and that's not a real fun position to be in. And I hacked my way around. I think I holed out on 16 for 2 to basically make the cut, and scrapped it round for the weekend and was pretty happy. But I was like, I need to get this sorted. And the tour docs in Europe are really, really good at that kind of stuff. They've sorted me out for knee and ankle over the years, and like sent them all the scans from New Zealand and say, hey, look, this is what I've got. They're like, look, okay, we'll get you in to see one of the guys that does the Premier League footballers. You can go on, we'll get you an appointment for Monday. So I roll into some clinic in London on Monday morning, get the nice little 15-minute injection in the hip, basically get told, don't do anything for a week. Just go jump in the pool, do like random, hip movements and stuff like that. So I literally just did that. And I had to fly to the States. So I think I had 7 weeks, 7 events in the US potentially to play to try to keep my card. I was like 105, 108 on the FedEx Cup list and 125 keep a card. And first event back in the US was Sanderson Farms. I remember standing on the range hitting balls and I got to a 7-iron, and it's the first day I've hit balls for like a week after this injection. I've hit one shot and I'm going, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. Legitimately, it was the first shot where like my hip didn't fire out real early and I felt like I was up and out of the shot. I was like, oh, that's all right. And finished 11th that week, and that probably would have got me enough points to keep my card, but I made the next 2 cuts in a row, and I was like comfortably inside of the 100 on the FedEx Cup with 3 events left, and like talking to Sam and talking to Marcus, and my physio in the US was like, look, cut it here. You've got your card. That's the main goal done, and go and do some rehab. And yeah, I worked my ass off at the end of 24, with led by physio and Dr. Sam, like, you need to do this. My trainer, who I've seen for 15 years on and off in Auckland when I'm home, he just got the bit between his teeth, and he's like, okay, you're coming in, 4 or 5 mornings a week at 5 a.m. And he kicked my ass. This nasty little Irishman. And I was in there this morning with him at 5 o'clock. Like, he's great. His name's Paul Greenwood. We train together. And like, we'd mix it around with golf stuff and cardio and whatever, and make sure I do all the little exercises needed for the hip. And I think I got to about 97 kilos at the end of last year. Had a bunch of comments like, oh yeah, you've looked like you've lost weight. And I'm like, I've lost a little bit, but I'd also make it like TV doesn't help. So like, but yeah, like I think that massively helped going into this year, where it was like, it's the first time I'd had a proper break. Like, I had 12 weeks off, which felt like just from the previous couple of years was needed. And that 12 weeks was mainly spent on getting the body right, did all the rehab exercises for the hip, and then went into the start of 25 actually feeling like I wanted to play golf, was excited about it. Probably didn't start quite the way I had imagined, but like there were signs that the golf game was there. I just had to kind of get rid of some of the bad habits I'd got up to when the body couldn't do what it was doing and couldn't do what it wanted to do in 24.
This sets the platform quite nicely to hone in on a few of your successes. Weirdly, I was talking to Shay in the lead up to this. There's a weird link between Seamus and your win in Canada, because the All Whites were there watching, and Shay was the link man.
Yep. It's kind of, you could probably credit it to me. Yeah, having those guys there cheering you home on the 18th.
Yeah, that was cool. Like, so
you're welcome.
That was, yeah, like.
Can I set the scene?
Yeah, you do it.
So I think this speaks to how good you are at WhatsApp, because I got a message from from Tommy Smith, who was playing for Auckland FC at the time, and he was with the All Whites in Canada, and he goes, hey man, are you friends with Ryan Fox? And I was like,
I'd say friends.
Not really, but he's done me a favour before, and thank you very much for that as well, by the way, of recording the on the tee notes for our friends chat, Horgan Cup. And I was like, well, look, maybe I can send him a message, but I don't expect anything back. And I think I even prefaced it with, I know you're playing, I don't expect you to answer. All Whites are in town. They wonder if they could get some tickets. They'd like you to come into the camp as well to say hi. And bless you, you came back straight away. I was like, look, I can't. I'm staying outside, but I can sort some tickets out, no problem. And I'm like, this guy, unbelievable. He's going to make me look amazing. So you put me in touch with someone, managed to get some tickets for the guys, and then there they are on the telecast. We were watching it in this very room. Ian Foster that day was supposed to record with us and text saying, I'm watching Foxy, I'll be in
I think
late.
everyone in New Zealand was watching
pretty much
when it went to the playoff there.
And then I'm there and I'm like, the broadcast goes and I can see all these All Whites in there and they're cutting back to them the whole time.
So what happened from my side there, obviously you'd sent through and I sent through some of my tickets, I think, because we get, I don't know how many we get.
Don't out this because everyone will come.
We get a few tickets each week, right? So I had no one up there. I had my wife and family up there, but they get the family tickets, so I had a few to get rid of. It was sweet. So, and then there's a Kiwi guy who's one of the main media guys for the PGA Tour, and I've known him, met him when I first played majors and stuff like that, and he'd got wind of the All Whites playing, and he'd said to me, he goes, "Oh, do you know the All Whites are playing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," like Seamus had offered me tickets, but I've got the family here, I can't really go. And he goes, "Oh, do you reckon I could take those tickets?" And I'm like, "I'm sure. I'll send a message. It's fine." So you sorted him out with tickets.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how the rest of it happened, but he got in touch with the media manager for the All Whites. And it went from like
5, I think I asked for.
Yeah. So it went from 5 tickets to him sorting everyone out a ticket, and then that little box on 18, and he kind of told me they're all out here for the day, they'll be watching, and I could hear them on the golf course on Sunday. I didn't really look specific. There's a decent amount of people out there. I'm not looking for faces in the crowd, but you could definitely hear some Kiwi accents and couple of non-American Canadian accents up there as well, and you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And then you're coming off on 18 and they're all just there.
Hanging out.
Oh shit, this is cool. And then, obviously after the playoff win, got to share that a little bit of a moment with those guys. And
yeah.
There's nothing like playoff golf, is there? I know you've probably talked about this a lot, but I'd love just to get your sort of highlights of it. I reckon the whole of New Zealand, because you start getting messages, Foxy's in the playoff. And because it went so many holes, I feel like just everyone was just united behind you. And there were so many ups and downs. It was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was playoffs are kind of weird. I feel like you've got it, it's a go for it mentality in a playoff. It's the one, if you f it up the worst, you can finish a second. It's not like if you come down the last and you're trying to win a golf tournament, make double, you can finish 8th if it's real bunched. Whereas you may as well have a crack in a playoff because the benefit of pulling it off is far outweighs the little mistake. But yet you finish as well. Say I know Canada, I finished a hole that putt to get in the playoff, so everything's kind of going, and then you just literally turn around and get whipped straight back out in a cart. And then, Sam Burns, on the other hand, has been sitting in the clubhouse for an hour and a half or longer. Obviously, he's probably gone to the range and hit some balls and re-warmed up again. But he's an hour and a half from playing golf. And I've just finished and gone from the high of I've got myself in a playoff. And then, I got to go again. And I think my brain was a bit fried the first hole. Didn't play the first hole very well. Sam missed he should have put me out of my misery that first hole. He's a great putter. I'd basically given him that 5 or 6 footer that he had, and was oh.
I wonder if his lads chat was hammering him after missing that putt.
I tell you what, if it was my lads chat, I would have copped it. I know that, but it was just one of those. Okay, yeah, we get to go again. It was a little bit of a reset the second time. Okay, yep, we're good. And then I kind of stuffed up the second hole. I hit shitty. I tried to go at the green with 3, but it probably wasn't a shot I felt that comfortable with. The back left flag, I had to draw it a little bit and kind of fatted it out to the right. Got lucky to not go on the water. And then I had the chance to hold the putt to win. And then I left that short. And then the third playoff hole, we both had a mare. They changed the pin, which is the first time I've done it on the PGA Tour. So it changed from back left pin to the front right. And it was a weird change in dynamic for the hole. It was probably a 10-yard difference in what it played. But the the wedge shot was way easier to the back left pin. It was like if you laid it up, you had the pin was in a bowl, it was into the wind, you could kind of spin it back down the slope and get it pretty close, but it was a pretty hard shot to get right if you're going at the green in 2. Whereas the front pin was more like you could spin it off the green into the water pretty easily. And it was it dropped off to the right, and if you missed it a little right, it would run off the front of the green. And it was almost an easier shot to just get it up near the green and kind of chip it close. So we both had to lay out because we had bad drives the third playoff hole, and we both hit bad wedge shots in there. Sam spun it off the green, I missed it left and 2-putted. And then it was like an easy decision on that fourth playoff hole. Like I had a good drive. It's like I've got the yardage to get there. Like it makes sense. Even if you hit it in the back bunker, it's probably an easier bunker shot than like a 100-yard wedge shot into the green and not quite knowing if it's going to spin or not. And that was probably the best shot I've ever hit in my life, that 3-wood in there on the fourth playoff hole. And then again, Sam potentially let me off the hook a little bit with his first putt going miles by and then missing the one coming back. And the typical stupid thought you have in there is just like, I've got 6 foot down the hill. Like you should never ever 3-putt that. But all you're thinking about, like my hands are going like that. Like
really?
Oh yeah. But like it's certainly not the first time I've had it. Hopefully it's not the last time I've had it. You kind of know how to deal with it, and you're just thinking, just don't be an idiot. And like I'm not really trying to hold that putt kind of thing. You just kind of like start it on line, get it, just dribble it down there. Even if it doesn't get there and it's this far short, it's fine. And then me being an idiot, I hit it like that far past, and it was like standing over it was never an issue, but it was just far enough. Like I'm still going to mark this, and it was like that mental reset of like, okay, bang, and then everything went a bit blurry from there.
How good.
That 3-wood, best shot of your career. Did you know as soon as you've hit it that it's the best shot, or are you kind of, when that's in the air, are you thinking this has got a chance? But
there was like there's still some luck involved in it, right? Like I hit the exact shot I wanted to hit, which is why I say it's probably the best shot I've ever hit. Like I had to hit a cut, it had to go up because like if I bulleted it, it was going over the back of the green, and it was like it's one of those ones. Yeah, you hit it and you go, I just hope I've kind of calculated that right in my head. And there's no like calculation. It's like whatever the wind is and this is how much it's going to take off. That's not.
What is the thought process before you hit that shot? Like, that'll do.
I don't have like some guys literally almost can play a yardage, right? And you'll hear caddies be like, okay, it's 165, but it's playing 180, and they can just have it as a hit 180 shot and hope they've calculated it right. That's not me. Like I'm just like, here's the wind. This is what I feel. Okay, this is going to be the club. And that was it. I remember talking to my caddy. I don't think there was much of a conversation there, but it was like we had 230 something, 235 into the wind. And I just looked at him and goes, I can't get 2 on there, can I? And he goes, no. I was like, 3 would got to take a bit off it. He's like, yep, done. That was like just hit a cut. Like I generally hit a cut, and it was like, okay, and as soon as I hit it, I was like, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I flushed the pants off it. And it was like, at that point, you're just like, I just don't want a gust of wind, or you don't want there to be a lull, because either or is like, it's water or back bunker. And I think I kind of leant a little bit in the air, going like, and in my head, I'm like, this is either perfect or it's going to land on that front bank and it's going to go on the water. And it, obviously, I couldn't see it. It was kind of hazy, and then I like heard the crowd go nuts.
Then the All Whites go ballistic.
Yeah, and then like it was kind of cool too. I don't know how many people were out there, but like I felt like everyone there was kind of barracking for me. All I heard was "Go Foxy, whatever," and everyone just went batshit crazy when that landed. And then I kind of like walked up a few yards and I could see it, and I'm like, "Oh damn, okay, yeah, that was pretty good."
We were going crazy in here. Like, I feel like everyone was, but I want to ask: when you tap the putt in and win, what's going through your head? Is it the success of winning the tournament? Is it the prize money? Is it just the everything you've worked so hard for to get the championship? Like, and what does it look like after that putt goes in?
It's the biggest thing is like it's like the prize money doesn't come into it. Like the prize money is the thing you check the next day and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that was pretty nice.
Do they pay out in 24 hours?
You pay out in like 3 or 4 days, I think.
That's still pretty good. That's a good turnaround from a day's work. A day's work?
Yeah, but like Yeah, it's a little bit of like the satisfaction of winning is pretty good, but it doesn't last that long. But it's like the culmination of everything you've done. Like that's what, like that stuff means a lot. Like, I've worked hard to get to this point, and then also like I get a lot of satisfaction from like doing stuff under pressure, like hitting the right shots and doing the right things under pressure. Like that seems to mean like you almost get more satisfaction, like, hitting that 3-wood when it means a lot to hit that. You get more, like the satisfaction of that's like almost more than the winning side of it, even though the winning is the end result of it. It's like, coming down the stretch with a lead and hitting all the shots and achieving that goal of winning. That's like the thing that gets you there. It's not, weirdly, not the actual winning part of it. Like it's really hard to describe, but like I know for me, like when I've got a chance to win a golf tournament, everything gets simplified, which I wish I could get to this point way earlier in a tournament than like Sunday afternoon. But it much more becomes, I want to hit it there. This is the shot I want to hit, and just hit it and kind of not worry about it. Like you still got nerves and you're still trying to get rid of the bad thoughts in your head, but it becomes less about how, like thinking about a golf shot or a like setup thought or anything. It's just like, okay, I need to hit it there. This is what I need to hit. Like it becomes a simple process. And that's like, I find it really hard sometimes to get in that place without the external pressure of it.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I love that mindset stuff. Before I bring in Carl Morris to talk a bit more about that, Myrtle Beach was another playoff win, and you chipped in from 50 yards. Annika was telling us a story about how she kind of missed it because your daughters needed to go wheeze, and then she came out and
didn't know that you'd won.
Yeah, this is good. So, like childcare is great on tour. They do it 5 days, Wednesday to Sunday. You get like a 6-hour window, give or take half an hour or so for the day. And so that finishes hard at 6 o'clock, right? On a hard 6 o'clock on a Sunday, right? So I always thought I was one back at Myrtle anyway. Like I thought I was always one short. And then, so like I'm kind of hitting balls on the range. And then Annika goes, well, it's 5:45. Like he might be in a playoff, maybe not. But I got to go pick the kids up anyway. So she bolts off from the golf course, and she's talking to her mum in the car on the way back, and like mum says, "Oh, he missed it. Ryan's in a playoff." So she's like, "Oh yeah, probably got time." So it's only like 10 minutes to pick up the kids. So she runs, picks up the kids, comes in, and then her mum had said like, "Oh, I've hit it in the trees." The other two are in the fairway. So Annika's best case, like there's probably another playoff hole, I'm all right. And then as soon as they get to the golf course, both the kids go, I need to go toilet. So she runs into the clubhouse, takes the kids to the toilet, and she kind of asks the security guards what's happening, and they don't really know. And then she comes out of the toilets, and they're like, oh, he's chipped in. Like, who's chipped in? Oh, Fox has chipped in. She's like, oh, shit. So she like grabs the kids, like 18 green's not there very far away. And then she gets up there, and apparently Mackenzie Hughes like storms past her. She's like, oh, okay. And then she gets to the green, and one of the other pros who we know pretty well, he's got daughters the same age as ours, and like comes and gives Annika a big hug and goes, oh, congrats. And she's like, what? She's like, Foxy won. She's like, what? And then she gets up on the edge of the green, and I'm like already doing an interview with Billy Ray Brown, and she's like, what the is going on here? And like, yeah, it was all pretty crazy. And then you guys will like this because I know I had a pretty good story at the end of the Razzle Keimer win. So like you go through all the all the media and stuff like that associated with. So we end up leaving the golf course at like 8:30. The kids are still with us, and my caddies were like, we've now got to go to the PGA Championship the next day instead of go home to Florida. And he goes like, we're going to have a few drinks. I'm like, yeah, we're definitely having a few drinks. And Annika's like, well, we've got to take the kids home first. So we're like, well, she goes, well, why don't you go with Dean? You go and get us some wine and maybe some dinner. And then I'll get the kids back and then we'll figure it out from there. So we go to the only thing that's open on a Sunday night is Publix supermarket. So I roll into Publix and I'm like going through like, just want a PGA Tour event. What am I going to drink? What am I going to drink? The most expensive bottle of wine I could find was like $40. Like a $40 cab save. I'm like, what am I going to get for dinner? I'm like, frozen pizza. So I went and bought two $40 bottles of wine, two $5 frozen pizzas, and I think Dean and I both smashed a Mars bar on the way back, or Snickers bar on the way back to our hotel room, and then just cooked the pizzas, tried to get the kids to bed, drunk till the wine was finished, and that was it. And I remember doing a bunch of interviews the next day. We had to drive to Charlotte, which is like a 4-hour drive, and I did hosking on the back roads of North Carolina with the kids screaming in the back of the car. So it was the 12, 24 hours after that win were pretty hectic as well.
Just quickly, how quickly after those 2 wins are you checking the group chat to see what's been said in that?
Well, so like I've always been pretty good at replying to WhatsApps, but it's like after both the wins in the US, it probably took me 3 or 4 days to clear everything, like WhatsApp, text, email. So the only 4 or 5 people I will check that night and will respond to the night of a win is like mum and dad, Marcus, maybe my manager, a couple of others, and that group chat.
Yeah.
So I went through that group chat.
It's
like
priority.
again, skim read a bunch of shit from it. But yeah,
They must be genuinely pumped though. Like,
the greatest one from the group chat actually was, so the year I won at Wentworth, there was a massive delay on Sunday. It was like an hour and a half delay. And so I'd gone out. They all stayed up and watched because I was only a couple of shots, 2 or 3 shots back going into Sunday. And I stayed up and I decided to triple the 3rd hole. So rightly so.
Decide to.
They all went to bed, right? And one of our mates in the group chat's in Adelaide. And so we come in from this delay and I've gone, after the triple, I've gone pretty batshit crazy. And I remember going into the bathroom during this rain delay and checking my phone, and our mate from Adelaide is just going, are you guys up for this? Like, there's like 5 or 6 messages.
Oh no, he's the only one in the chat.
He's the only one
replying to himself.
And then all I said, he's like, I'm going to ring every one of you. Make sure you. So he was the only one that actually saw it live.
What a
So
guy.
he was. I think he tried pretty hard to wake everyone up in that chat for that Wentworth win, and failed abysmally with every single one of them.
So good. A little bit on mindset. So I spoke to Marcus, and he sort of said, you've got a few coaches and a few people that help you. And one of them is Carl Morris, who is in the UK. Can you tell us about what he does? Like, what does that work, and how does that help you?
Yeah, so Carl, like mental skills, psychologist, whatever you kind of want to officially term it. And I worked with him 2 weeks. I started working with him 2 weeks before my first win in Europe in Perth in 2019. And Carl's been really good. Like, it's like we go through the goals and stuff like that, but a lot of the stuff we've done, like the big picture stuff, like goal, like you set the, what you want to achieve for a year, but a lot of the stuff that he's gone, it's like, okay, well that's there. Let's just plaster that on the wall and leave it. But how you achieve those goals is like, it's more like, who do you want to be as a golfer, and write those kind of down for a year. And that was like, when we started unlocking that was pretty important. Like, to be like dedication, or like stuff that you can actually do to help you achieve the ones you write down, the ones that you can tick off at the start of the year, like winning or finishing in the top 50, like the outcome goals that most people write down. But like sometimes you don't, like, there's not necessarily much day to day that you can specifically do to achieve those goals. But if you write down, like for us, it was writing down who you want to be, kind of, it was not just necessarily the golf side, like as a dad and whatever, like how it all fits in together.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a nice way. I could probably find it on my phone. It's in the other room, but we've done it at the start of every year for the last like 3 or 4 years. And it's like, okay, these are the end goals, but these are how I'm going to achieve them. And it's yeah, like one of them might be, I think one of them's been enjoy it, have fun, because that's a big part of it for me. Like I still love golf, and if golf gets to a point where I hate it, which everyone that's played golf hates it at some point, and can love it like 10 minutes later. But like if it gets to that point, then I know I'm in a bad place. So it's like I've still got to find a way that what I do is fun. And then in terms of like the week to week stuff, it's not really setting like a goal to win a tournament of top 10 or anything like that. It's like, what's our process goals for the week? And, you know, it varies golf course to golf course. And like a big unlock for me with Carl a couple of years ago, and this kind of started in 22 and probably lasted, we had almost the same process goal for 18 months, was beat the golf course. And I know that sounds really simple, but how it worked in my head was like, it got rid of, I'd always get nervy about certain holes and certain shots in almost the night, like it was worse the night before or thinking about it in the morning. And like the idea of beating the golf course kind of made it not have to be perfect. Like I could get up there and like, it doesn't matter if I sclaff one out right and hit it up near the green and make a par. Like that's a hard hole. Like getting a par on that hole is still kind of beating that hole rather than having to hit a perfect shot. And it kind of became the same thing. It grew legs coming down the stretch. It was like, well, all I'm trying to do on a Sunday afternoon in contention or whatever, and like in 22, I was in contention a lot. Like, I'm just trying to beat the golf course. And if I beat the golf course, I know I'm going to be there or thereabouts. And like, I specifically remember it at Dunhill Links. So like, I looked at the leaderboard at Dunhill Links on the 9th hole, and I was tied for the lead with Rory. And I know like 2 years earlier, I would have absolutely shat myself seeing that. And my whole goal was for the back nine was to just beat the golf course. And I can't remember what I shot on the back nine, but like I beat the golf course and ended up, you know, winning the tournament. It was like, it's like, it just took away all the external stuff from it, and it made it really easy to just focus on the shot I was hitting and let go of it having to be perfect the whole time. Like you can still scrap it away and still beat a golf course. And then like a lot of the other stuff we've worked on is like the acceptance of it. Like again, golf doesn't have to be perfect. If you hit a bad shot, it's okay. Like it's the thing that I've really liked working with Carl. There's none of the psycho babble about it. Like it's all pretty simple. And it's like when he says it sometimes, like, probably could have thought of that myself. But it's like how it's termed is like, it's just like a lot of the time is the right way I need to hear it. And like I think something he did with like Louis Oosthuizen, when Louis won the Open in 2010, I think, was a little red dot on his glove. And I think that got a lot of coverage in the media, that Louis before every shot would get down and just look at the red dot, and that's what he'd focus on. It would take his mind away from everything else. Like it's like I haven't done any of that stuff with Carl, but it was like the same principle. It's like something that's very simple that you can think about and just brings you back into the right moment when things really matter.
I love that shit, eh? That mindset stuff. Like, have you always? Did it take some convincing to start working with him?
Well, I mean, it was 6 years ago now. Like I think I probably fought it a little bit, but like the proof was in the pudding. I won 2 weeks later after working with him, and it was kind of like, and like I don't think I knew him very well. I'd kind of been recommended him beforehand, and it's like I like the fact that it was, you know, I'm not on the phone to him for half an hour a day at it. Like it's like we have a 15-minute chat like most weeks before tournaments, and half of it is like, mate, I'm feeling good. Like, okay, what are the keys to this golf course? Okay, you got to drive it pretty good. This, that. Okay, well, what's our theme? What's our kind of goals for the week? Okay, well, acceptance is going to be pretty high. It's or like, is this a golf course you can beat this week 100%? Or is this or you play US Open and you know you're going to get beaten up? Like, let's just try to like it almost became a running joke. Like, let's just try not to get beaten up this week. Like, it was kind of it was real simple stuff. And then if I have had weeks where I'm in a really bad spot, then it becomes a bit more of a chat through it and be like, okay, what's going on? Like, and it might become a half an hour chat, and then he's mad on cricket, and half of the back end of the conversation always ends up us talking about cricket as well, because I love it too. So it's like it's worked really, really well over the years, and I've really enjoyed working with him. We'll continue to do so for a while yet. I know that. And
it sounds like it's not just the golf, right? It's all encompassing. It's about being a man, about being a father, being a husband. I imagine.
Yeah, like like if I feel like I need to chat to him about that stuff, it's definitely there. And I think some of that, like at the start of the year stuff, like, because that's I said it earlier a little bit, like generally for me, being happy off the golf course has meant playing well on it, and so like that side of things, like time management and stuff like that, now has become more important, and like that's something that I can set at the start of the year. Like, okay, I'll still want to be present as a father. I still want to be able to do stuff, but that just means I have to be a shitload more organized than I ever used to be when it comes to golf, because I now don't have all the time in the world to do it.
That leads quite nicely into the Grant Fox section. I had a chat with Grant last week in prep for this. We had him on the pod. It's one of my favorite episodes. It was an emotional chat. And then when I chatted to him on the phone, it got emotional again. And funny, because I was talking to you beforehand, and it's a little bit like the guys in the WhatsApp thread saying nice things about you. It's perhaps, a side that you don't see all that often. I seem to see it every time I talk with Grant. But I want to sort of read what he said about you. He said, "We want Ryan to know that we're proud of him. Even if the golf hadn't have turned out, but he'd done everything he could, we would have been just as proud of him. But the fact we believe he's a good husband and a good dad, and he's very grounded with his mates, and especially his old school mates, we're more proud of him for that than the golf, to be honest." And we had this really cool conversation about what it means to be a good person and a good human. And he spoke so highly of his love for the personality you are. And it made me think back to that photo that we saw of you and him at the Masters, and he was, in the whites on your bag in the par 3. And I was like, that is just the coolest thing to share that experience with your dad. We spoke about it in the last podcast about this incredible ride you're on and how he's sort of been alongside you the whole time. But can you tell us a little bit about the relationship with your dad and bringing him along and being at Augusta with him and what that's meant to you?
It's been pretty massive. Like, obviously, like, Dad sacrificed a lot of time when I first started playing golf. And I probably didn't think much of it at the time, but he ran a company and he had time that was flexible enough for him to go away. But he would travel to 80% of the amateur events I played and caddy for me. And a few of the other dads would travel here and there and stay with us. Well, we had a great time. There was 5 of us from the same golf course that all used to travel and play together, and all our dads were good. Well, a few of the dads were really good friends. It was great, and Dad used to be there most of the time, and he used to give the guys shit if he outdrove them in a practice round and stuff like that. But looking back on it, I didn't think very much of it. Well, I didn't. It's not that I didn't think very much of it at the time. I just it was what Dad did. It was he had the time to do it, and we'd all laugh at him when he was sitting on the couch swearing at his computer, thinking that whacking it would make it work properly. But he did give up a lot for that, and I learnt a lot off him. And we again probably had the father-son few arguments here and there. He can be a fairly strong personality and likes to be in control, and it took me a little bit to maybe want to stand up to him in that regard. But when I did it, we clashed a little bit. But Dad's been there for all of the journey, and I know deep down he's always meant well, and sometimes I haven't been great at responding to it. And sometimes it's how we put things that would just set me off, and I'd just give one-word answers. And I used to get annoyed if he'd ring. I used to say a Spanish Inquisition after my round of golf. He was just interested, but it came across how'd you do this? Why'd you do this? And if I've played a bad round, I just wanted to burn it and leave it and not think about it. And I used to get pissed off when he would quiz me on that. And I think, he's got a bit better at it over the years to know when to just leave it and just send, hey, hard luck, that's it. And when I want to talk about stuff, hopefully I've got a little bit better at that than I probably was 5 or 10 years ago. But yeah, like to have the Masters was like the almost like the way I could say thank you, if that makes sense. Like, I think New Zealand males aren't very good at that anyway, and Dad and I are probably definitely that way for the most part, although you've probably seen a side of Dad I haven't seen very often. That was a cool experience. And I know even during that, like a couple of times, I'm like standing on a tee ready to hit. I'm like, is he? And he's like 50 yards behind me talking to someone in the crowd. Like, okay, that's like, but stuff like that's really cool. And to share that, he hit a terrible shot into the water on 9. Oh, your clubs are too heavy for me. But like deep down, that like that was pretty cool. And I actually got to share that experience this year playing socially with him at Augusta, which was even better in a way. Like, again, Dad, his golf game wasn't where it wanted to be, and he's pretty competitive and gets pretty pissed off when it's not there. And it was pretty funny watching him. Fuck, damn it! Like, get really angry. I'm like, dude, you're at Augusta. It doesn't matter. It's fine. But like, that first Masters was like a bit of a my way to you guys have helped get me here. Like, for him to be able to carry the bag at the par 3 was pretty awesome.
Annika had a hit at Augusta too, right? I think she said to you, Shay, that her goal was just to hit it further than Grant.
She did. Yeah, she did hit it further than Grant.
Unbelievable.
But, yeah, it's not like it's that shot they hit on 9. It's not very nice. Like, it's really narrow up there. They give a real nice front pin, a hole in one chance, but it's like 5 or 6 yards. Like, it's probably as wide as this room is, and it's like 120 meters. Like, it's water both sides. So like you're in there in overalls, which are not that nice to hit, and there's a shitload of people watching, and it's Augusta. So like, I can understand people hitting bad shots, but yeah, Annika's whole goal was to hit a better shot than Dad, and I'll give it to her. It definitely still went in the water, but it went further towards the green than Dad's did.
He also told us about having dinner at Augusta, and he said through an old school mate, and he looked over and there was John Elway and Peyton Manning and Dwayne Wade and Charles Barkley at sort of the table next to you.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is this world?
Like, that whole story kind of starts. So Dad, we'd been invited, one of my sponsors who lives in America, he's got an energy company in America, he randomly went to school with Dad. And my manager got to know him completely separately. And then they got talking one night. He goes, oh, who else do you look after? And he said, Ryan Foxy. You're kidding. I went to school with his dad at Auckland Grammar. They played in the first 11 together at Grammar. So like, very small world. And so he ended up sponsoring me, and then he loves golf and he's a member of a bunch of golf courses in the US, and one of his mates is an Augusta member. And the first time that I qualified for Augusta, his mate Darren wanted to take Peter and I to Augusta to play. So the first time I played Augusta was with this guy Peter Gibson, Darren DeVore, who's the member, and we got to stay there, and that was cool. And then went again this year. So Darren said, I'd love to take your dad up there with Peter and play. And I said, Dad, Darren wants to take us to Augusta. Augusta's only open from like October till May. And Dad's like, oh, it's a bit early to come. I'm like, it's Augusta, man. Like, the players is the following week. Let's go play. You come up, come watch the players. We can drive to the players from Florida. We can drive to the Valspar tournament after that, and you guys can go home. And Dad's like, okay, yeah, that's good. So we roll up, and they roll up the week of the Honda Classic, well, actually the Cognizant Classic, which should be the Honda for like 25 years. And I missed the cut by one there. And so I got invited. I'm playing with Jimmy Dunn, who is has been heavily involved in golf. Anyone that knows anything about golf, he was the guy that tried to broker the deal with Liv and PGA Tour. And I got invited to play the pro member with Jimmy at Seminole. And Seminole is one of the most exclusive clubs in the US, in Florida. And I played with him the year before. I'm playing with him again earlier this year. And so I play a practice round on the Sunday afternoon with Jimmy. and asked Jimmy, look, Dad's here. Is there any chance that like Dad can come out and watch the Pro Member tomorrow? And, absolutely. So we go out and play the Pro Member the next day. And so I'm playing with Jimmy. We're playing with a guy, Buddy Marucci, who used to be the head of the USGA, who's like 70 odd and plays off 2. And his partner's Ricky Fowler. And so Dad's just wandering the fairways of Seminole with this going, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. And then so Jimmy's a member of Augusta, and he happens to be going up to Augusta at the same time as us to play Tuesday, Wednesday. So the member pro is on the Monday, and I think we're playing Augusta. I think it was either the Tuesday, Wednesday, or the Wednesday, Thursday. I can't remember. But during the round, Jimmy's like, oh, I'm flying up there tomorrow. Why don't you just jump in with me? And I sort of said, oh, that's all right. We're sorted. And
we'll drive.
No, we were supposed to be flying like Delta to Atlanta and then whatever. And then Dad's like, we're in the car. And I'm like, Dad, why do you say no to that? And I'm like, okay, I'll talk to Jimmy. Maybe we can change it. And so I text Jimmy afterwards. He's like, oh, yeah, still room. Like, just jump on. So we go and we get a nice little private jet up to Augusta. So this is like pretty sweet. And so Jimmy goes into Augusta. We're staying off site that night. And then Darren comes and picks us up in the morning, and we go and play golf. And so like it's awesome, right? And first time Dad playing Augusta, we get the full tour of the whole facilities after we play. Go everywhere, which is awesome. And then you've got to go and we're having dinner in the clubhouse that night, and it's full jacket and tie and everything, right? And so we get down there, and Jimmy's organised us to sit at dinner with him. Like, he is bragging to everyone that we've just won
the tournament.
We've won the Pro Member. It's
Yeah.
the first time he's got like
Huge.
they call it paint on the board. So it's the first time he's got paint on the board for this tournament. So I'm very much in his good books for that.
Because you've shot lights out.
I shot bogey free 65. I played really, really good that day. And he made a par net birdie on the last for us to win by 1. So like he's on cloud
he's
9.
cock-a-hoop right now.
As I said, I'm in his good books. So he's organised for us to all sit down at dinner with him, right? So it's our group of 4, Darren and Peter, myself and Dad, and his group of 4 is himself, 2 guys from Colorado, and John Elway. So we're just randomly sitting at a table with these guys, right? And then the table next to us is a table of 4, which is Peyton Manning, Dwayne Wade, Charles Barkley, and Grant Hill.
That's such an eclectic.
Right. And so I'm like sitting at dinner, like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. And no phones anywhere, right? And then Jimmy gets up through dinner and goes and talks to Peyton, and all you can hear him talk about is this Pro Member and how we've won. He goes, Foxy, get over here. So I get rolled up, and I've got to talk through this whole Pro Member with 3 basketball legends and an NFL superstar. And I'm like, I wish I could have a phone in here right now and get a photo with this. And just like the place is crazy for shit like that. And so I had that whole experience, and we go and play the next morning and played the par 3, and then we all left. And then later on that week, Jimmy goes, oh, I'd love to have your dad out to Seminole. So we get a so Jim goes, I'll get us a 4th. So he texts me, he goes, I said I'd play with Judge Kavanaugh. So we turn up, and Judge Kavanaugh is one of the Supreme Court justices for the that Brett Kavanaugh. So we've rolled around Seminole on a Sunday afternoon with a Supreme Court justice and Jimmy Dunn with Dad. So Dad's had like potentially like the best week of golf you could almost have in the US. Like maybe if you put like Cypress Point and Pine Valley in there, but like a couple of rounds at Augusta and Seminole in the same week are pretty hard to beat.
Is your life just a series of pinch me moments?
Yeah.
The stupid thing now is that's way less of a pinch me moment than it ever was.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
the fact that I can I don't know, that like golf just seems to bring in like sports people love it. Yeah. Obviously, high-powered businessmen love it. It just seems to be a game, and it brings everyone in equal. Like you talk about golf, it doesn't matter what level of society you are, you can bond over golf, and that's pretty cool in that regard. And like I've had a lot of amazing experiences like that with golf, with various other sports people and business people and stuff like that. And it's I wouldn't say it feels normal, but I also felt a whole lot more comfortable talking to those guys than I probably would have 5 years ago, just because of all the other experiences with it.
Does it feel normal on the tour as well? Like Grant, and I'm always mindful of repeating a story that somebody has told us, but Grant told us a story, I think after the Canada Open, where you bumped into Scotty Scheffler and he congratulated you on that 3-wood, and your response was, well, you do that. I'm just following you. You do that every week. But
literally.
When you were in conversations like that, they're your peers now, right?
Yeah.
Does it feel like you're in the group, in the game?
Yeah, like you definitely feel like I've got a bit more skin in the game with after a couple of wins. Like you get a bit more street cred there. Like the coolest thing after the first win at Myrtle Beach is so I got the last spot in the PGA Championship. I'm pretty hungover. I'm very tired.
Those supermarket red wines.
Yeah, I roll into like the locker room at Quail Hollow, and the first person I see is Rory. Right, Rory's won the Masters like a month earlier.
Rory McIlroy, for anyone who's not golf.
And like I turn up, and he just looks over, gives me a massive smile, comes and gives me a big hug, and go, "Bro, I'm so happy for you." I'm like, "Don't talk about me. You just won the Masters, man. Like, I'm like, don't worry about that." And it's like, you're like, that's still like really cool. And we had a bit of a chat. Like I've obviously played a bit of golf with him.
You guys got a little bromance going on, haven't you?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but like he loves rugby. Like he loves other sports. I played with him when he came down here at the back end of last year, and played with him a few times in tournaments, a couple of practice rounds. Like just have got along well, have got common interests in that regard. Our daughters are very similar ages.
When you're talking about coming out, was that at Tara Edie when he came out? So what does that look like? So you and Rory, like who else makes up that four ball, and how do you play?
So Jimmy Dunn was one.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And so Jim Rawstaff was the fourth. He's been. And he's I'm going to get this wrong and he'll probably shoot me for it, but he's the executive director of Tiari Links, one of the originals of Tara Edie. And so I get the text from Jim, hey, like I knew Rory was coming down anyway, but he's like, hey, we're going to try to get a game with Rory. You win. I'm like,
yeah.
Of course. So he's like, okay. And then I get the text saying, okay, let's play this day. And I think it's going to be me and you versus Rory and Jimmy Dunn.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay. Like I know, I've played a bit with Jimmy. I know that's going to be a tough match, and we actually beat them. And Jimmy's sitting at the table after he goes, you know, when Rory McIlroy's your partner and you lose, you know, you got to go to the range. So like we had a good time, but like did
they get super competitive? Like are you dialed in? No.
We're more talking about New Zealand and like Tara Edie. The buzziest thing he said to me, which I think is a credit to New Zealand. Like he'd been down here before, but not for a long, long time. And he said, like he flew in here and he's waiting for some other guys to arrive from, I think, Dubai. Like they had 8 of them down here for a trip. And he went into that little cafe at the arrivals area at Auckland Airport, right on the left when you arrive. And he said he sat in there and had a coffee. He was in there for like 20 minutes. And he said not a single person came up and asked for an autograph or a photo. Like anywhere else in the world, he'd be bombarded doing that. And he said he definitely heard, like under people, that's Rory. But no one came up and asked him for anything. And I think he kind of respected that. And I know, like, the golf courses up there were like, hey, look, they tried to hide that he was, or not hide, but like, discreet about it. And it was kind of an unwritten rule. Like, if he's around the clubhouse, you can watch, but we don't want people going out and watching. He's coming down off his own back. He's playing socially. He's playing with his mates. Let him enjoy the experience of it. And like I know, like they'd played Tara the day before I played with him, and I said, "Oh mate, what do you think?" And he goes, "Well, I had pretty high expectations coming down here," and he goes, "It's exceeded my expectations." So when someone like that says that, like, you know, I know he wants to come back and bring his family and stuff like that. So he had a really good. He was only down here for like 3 or 4 days. But he absolutely loved New Zealand and loved that part of the world. And like he's still a golf nerd too. Like he loves the architecture side of golf. Like he loves playing golf. And for him to come and do that and off his own back and come down to New Zealand and play is pretty cool.
You got my number now, Foxy. Yeah. If Jimmy Dunn
I apologise for that too, because he asked me for it and I was like, I hesitated I was the gatekeeper for your number, but I'm sorry. I should have asked your permission. I should have asked your permission first. Just Rory McIlroy, is that the same trip when Sean Fitzpatrick came and recorded with us, and he bumped into him down there as well?
Yeah, that sounds right. I know Christian Cullen was playing Tiari one day, and Rory just was there and Cully went over and said hello, and not like Rory's a mad rugby fan, knew exactly who Cully was.
Yeah.
So like, it's pretty cool.
Sport connector.
Do you, when you are interacting with him, do you talk about what you could improve in your own game? Like, do you share tips and
No,
hit,
I just
hit it like this? Or
I
something?
just watch him, and you're like, I'm not that good. Like he's one of the few that like you watch it and you're like, no one else can do that. Like Scotty's death by 1,000 cuts. Like he just hits every shot that needs to be hit at the right time, no matter what the pressure is. But Rory just hits a few shots. You're like, that's not fair. Like he is just that good.
Exciting.
And your recent results this year have guaranteed you on the tour until the end of 27? 28, sorry. Sold you short a year. But like that job security must be good for you, right? Like playing without having to play for your future every year.
Yep, especially at my age. Like I'm 38 going on 39. Like to have job security on the PGA Tour for 3 more years is pretty cool. Like it also with the family. Like we're sitting like halfway through this year going, are we going to be Florida based like we were this year? We're going to go back to the UK and be based in Europe because I've still got status on Europe for next year as well. Like, am I going to travel like I did in 23 and try to just do it a bit better organised than I did it? And then, straight after that Myrtle Beach when it was like, okay, well, I know I've got the rest of the year and 2 more. So let's start looking for a base in the US permanently. And then obviously Canada came along and the budget slightly went up for what we're looking at. And like it's nice to just, like, we know it's not going to be a permanent thing. Like we don't want to move to the US for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But like to have that security and know that, like, we've got a base up there. Like we're going to be up there at least for 6 months a year for the next 3 years. Like it makes it easier to make decisions. And especially next year is the first year on the PGA Tour, like finishing that top 50 in the FedEx Cup, I know I'm getting all the big events. I've got 3 of the 4 majors guaranteed for next year. Like makes it so much easier to pick a schedule where the last couple of years you're always trying to play your way into something. And the schedule was like A, B, C. If I play well, I'll get into A. If I don't, I might get B. Or if I play badly, I might have to do C. And I don't have to worry about that next year. I can actually just, okay, this is what I'm going to play for the most part, other than our first event of the year, which has been cancelled in Hawaii. So there's been a little bit of a figuring out where I'm going to play this to start the year. But, for the rest of that year, up until like the Open in July, I can pretty much set my schedule now, which I haven't been able to do on the PGA Tour for the last couple of years. But it made it nice in Europe when I could do that for, the years I was out there. You go, okay, these are the golf courses I like. These are the events I want to play. And you could kind of map a schedule out for the year and kind of, put a couple in or take a couple out depending on how you play. Like next year is going to be like that on the PGA Tour, which is nice.
I want to finish with a bit of family and future chat, but before then, I've got a few quick fire questions.
These sound like they're going to be really direct, like really deliberately angled at you to get your head around a golf game.
Let's just see what we get, eh?
I didn't see these before, so I apologise.
So first one's a hypothetical. You're on a lads trip. Everyone's dusty. It's a morning tea time. What's your stance on a breakfast ball?
No.
What's a breakfast ball for those that aren't involved in this too?
A breakfast ball is like an automatic mulligan off the first. So a mulligan's a free rehit, basically.
Oh, right.
And
it's a Phil McCracken shot.
Yeah, basically. No, he's got the one, so he's got what we call a CD, ceremonial dome, basically. He is renowned for in a tournament topping it off the first tee.
Yeah.
So,
but that was a no for clarification.
Firm no.
On breakfast ball.
Okay. Playing around with your mates, walking or carts?
Walk.
Yeah.
Always?
Not always, but
Most
I would
of the time?
rather walk.
Okay. One piece of bad golf advice that you hear all the time.
Keep your head down. It's a fucking shit piece of advice.
Why is that bad?
So, like, if you try to keep your head down, people do that. Like, that's not a good move in a golf swing. Like, you want to, some guys don't. Some guys are here when they hit the ball. But you want to you want to watch yourself hit the ball, but you want to actually let it go. Yeah. You don't want to do this and lift your head up before you hit it, but keep your head down is terrible.
Yeah, good. I'm gonna.
I love you. You like watching where you finish normally as well.
You can copy one player's skill for a season. So Scheffler's approach or McIlroy's driver, Fleetwood's hands. You got one that stands out?
That's a hard choice.
Hovland swing, or you can create your own.
I would take Rory's driver. I feel like that's the biggest weapon in golf, to be honest.
You know what I said last time about a long
I know.
a long drive. It's like
it's
such
the
a good
long
analogy.
drive helps, but it's more the fact that
How you use it.
And Rory uses it very well.
Be the
in
best,
a golf sense.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Be the best driver on tour or the best putter?
The best putter makes you more money.
Yeah, putt for dough, right?
Yeah.
That's the.
Yeah. Although I think statistically now, the driver's quite important, more important than what it was given credit for at the end. But yeah, if you drive it good and putt shit, it's harder than if you drive it shit and putt.
What if you've got neither of those in your locker?
Then you ain't on tour very long.
Yeah.
There's a saying on tour, there's two things that don't last very long. Dogs chasing cars and pros that putt for pars.
Nice.
I like that. We have recently partnered with Barkers, who now dress us for all our recordings. And in each episode, we ask our guest for a piece of fashion or grooming advice. I think you might have a golf tint. Do you have any golf fashion rules or fashion advice?
White pants, no.
No white pants?
No white pants.
Really?
Like you can get... if you're on tour and you can play, you can get away with it. But if you turn up as a 10 handicapper at your local course wearing white pants, you should be shot. Is that fair?
That's fair. That's fair. Thanks to the legends at Barkers for opening that door. Funniest on-course sledge? Is there any that come out that...
I can't repeat a couple of them, but...
There mustn't be that much sledging on the Pro Tour, would there be? Or
Well, it doesn't have to be pro. It
Nah.
could be with the lads.
I mean, like the typical ones, you know, the Saddams and the Hitlers and those kind of...
that's the ACC commentary, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, those ones are always good. I quite like the high school prom. So when you lip it out, all lip, no hole.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Okay, one public New Zealand course you'd take the world's top 10 to and back yourself on.
I can say Tiari because it's public. So I'd say that. That would. Yeah.
That'd be the one.
And I also say that because that would be one of those experiences you'd take them to and they'd be like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Is that the best course in New Zealand?
I think like Taraiti is one for me, but I think the North and South course give Taraiti a run. But I still like Taraiti's my favourite in New Zealand. We've got a few really good ones though.
Yeah, have you played at Tiki here?
Yes, I have. Tiki's a really good golf
I'm a
course.
member at Tiki. It is beautiful. It's my happy place. I love that you turn left into that drive, and that is just.
He's not
beautiful.
gonna play with him.
No, they've done a really good job at Tiki. Like the old Lockhill golf course was, like it was fine, but I think they've done a really good job of the golf course there.
I know you're saying no to more things, but if there was in the future a B2B Open at Tieki,
Jesus.
what are the chances?
If I'm in the country, there's a chance.
It's a chance.
I'm not in the country very often.
Yeah.
He's saying there's a chance.
I didn't say it was this year.
All right, that was great. Quick fire questions. I want to give a little bit of space to talk about Chasing the Fox because this thing is taking a life.
What a time we had last year.
Yeah, so it started in 2022 and now it just seems to be growing each year. Now it's live on TV. We were there last year. Like, it's such a vibe. It's such a great event. Can you tell us about the growth and what you're seeing?
I mean, yeah, it's just got legs basically the last 2 years. The first year, so Nick Randall from POTUS is the guy that came to me with the idea. Like, obviously the Black Clash has been really popular over the years and golf's like a sport that lends itself to something like that. And he kind of came to me with the idea and was like, you know, what about this? So we talked about maybe how a format would work. And like the first year was proof of concept. I think John Key had a hole-in-one that first year in front of a bunch of All Blacks and myself and his son and David Seymour and like that.
Couldn't have scripted that.
Could have scripted it.
Well, you could have, but the chances of a hole-in-one are pretty slim. So, like, the fact that happened, like, I think that, like, I'm not sure necessarily would it have continued? Like, we proved that it worked.
Captured the imagination.
But it got, like, it went viral after John's hole-in-one. I think year 2, we made a bit of a mistake. We put, like, 3 groups of amateurs together and 1 pro, try to condense the watching of it, but it went got too slow and a bit messed up, and said, okay, well, last year's our not necessarily final goal of it, but okay, let's try to tweak it and see if we can make it better. And if it goes good, we'll keep going. If it doesn't, well, then we'll revisit it. And it probably helped me being on the PGA Tour and a bit more profile, but it just went batshit crazy last year.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We had, I think it was like 700,000 people watch it on TVNZ.
Yeah,
and that was just one hole.
Yeah.
The ACC boys were commentating. I know they said, I know they would have said a lot of stuff. The only stuff they actually got in trouble for was the Hitler one.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but it's pretty funny too.
What did they say?
I saw Hitler's 2 shots in a bunker.
Yeah. Okay.
So like on free-to-air TV at like 8 o'clock at night, like maybe not.
Yeah.
But
what's the Saddam one?
Bunker to bunker.
Okay.
I think they had like Maradona or like nasty little 5-footer.
Yeah. 4-footer, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, there was a few, but the only one they actually got in trouble for was the Hitler. And so in terms of the whole event, like it still buzzes me out that like there's an event with my name on it that a bunch of like legendary New Zealanders come and play.
Yeah.
And then buzzes me out more that we had like 40% or something of the TV coverage on that. Like everyone that watched TV on that Friday night, like
Friday night, 7 o'clock.
40,000 people, 40% of the people watching TV watch golf.
And I'll say this, we're talking about it the next day because I was at the cricket the next day, and that was dominating the conversation just about how good it was.
Yeah, and like in terms of actually going there, like everyone's really close. Like we wanted to keep that. Like the first year when there was only a few hundred people watching, everyone could walk the fairways. Most people were golfers, and it just like everyone kind of got it. Like just don't get in the way of the golf, and everything else is all good. And then we thought we'd like to continue that idea. We had to rope off the greens because obviously people getting close to the greens is quite dangerous as well. But the idea of being able to walk the fairways with like legendary All Blacks and cricketers and the Warriors and Olympians and stuff like that's pretty cool. There's plenty of banter going around, but like the guys are signing autographs going around. It's pretty cool. And as I said, to have those guys play an event with my name on it's pretty humbling.
Do you feel the pressure to perform? Like, is there more nerves
100%
ahead of that than
yeah?
Like,
and I probably stitched myself up the first year. So I played really good and hold a bunch of putts the first year and shot 4 under and tied with the rugby boys. I think I actually can't.
League Warriors.
No, I thought the Warriors won the second
year.
year.
They did win the second.
I tied the first year at 4 under, and so it was like, the proof of concept works. Like 3 guys playing Ambrose. And we kind of made it the first year that it was like you call it Florida Scramble, where if you hit a shot, then you can't hit the next shot. So like it's three guys hit off the tee, and then whoever hits the tee shot can't hit the second shot. Whoever hits the second shot can't hit the putt. So it kind of tried to even it out. And then for simplicity of it going forward, we're like, well, just straight Ambrose makes sense. But then that got harder for us playing our own ball, and we ended up with a couple more guys playing and decided this year that if it's going to be chasing the Fox, I hopefully should be somewhere near the top. Like it's not the whole point of it, but I would like to be competitive. Like I know last year I bogeyed the first hole taking on the green, and we're like, I'm out of it now. Like 6 holes is not a lot to make up. So we're going to play with partners this year. We're going to play 2-man Ambrose versus 3-man Ambrose. So it's going to be hopefully a little bit different, a little bit more competitive from the pros' point of view. I know we've still got a few teams and stuff yet to be announced and like what the pro teams are going to be. But yeah, hopefully this year, like it's got massive legs from a corporate side this year compared to like last year was big, but it's bigger in that sense this year. I know tickets go on sale on the 29th. So
today. By the time this goes out,
by the time tickets are on sale by the time this is out. So like, hopefully we get a good uptake.
Yeah, can't speak highly enough of the day.
It's really fun. It's been really fun for me, and as I said, like having those guys play is awesome. And I know, like I saw Sean Johnson a couple of weeks ago, and like he's real excited to play this year. Like he was buzzing about it. Asked Bryce Casey to be a part of the media team live on air, and he was buzzing for about a minute until everyone else says, "Oh, Bryce, you're going to have a few 100,000 people watching on TV," and he goes, "Oh shit!" It's pretty cool to have everyone else excited to be a part of it, and the only thing we can't control is the weather. So hopefully, how crappy weather sorts itself out before the 12th of December.
I got to manage. I've got a lot of WhatsApp messages from very interested football golfers that just wondered if there was an opportunity. Which you don't need to answer it now, but I just know that
there potentially might be.
That they're starting to stack up in there, and it's a busy few days because you go straight from chasing the fox into your original down in Waihi, the Fox.
Yep.
Fishing and golf.
Yep. So yeah, that's been going on. I think it's the 6th year that's gone on. We've raised a bunch of money for the Waihi Beach Coast Guard and the Waihi Beach lifeguards. So that's cool. Like mum and dad have had a place down in Waihi Beach for like 20 years. And, both of those organisations run off, donations and grants from the government and stuff like that. So, dad's always hosted a rugby event down there, like a speaking event, which has gone really well over the years. And, Kelson Butler from SportsLink came to me with the idea, like, how about you love fishing, love golf? Let's run something like that. It was originally supposed to be with Steve and Donald, so the Fox and Beaver. And Beaver ended up still having some rugby commitments, and I was like, I can't host it. Like, I can't host an event like that by myself. Like, obviously we had, Eric Murray was involved, Neil Wagner the first year, and Izzy Dag was there. Like, I didn't feel like I was, like, the guys playing were bigger names than me hosting it, but it's got legs again over the last few years. It's like, and we've got a waiting list of like 8 or 9 teams to get in, and basically it's a day of fishing, a day of golf. I say fishing, like a lot of teams have really struggled on the fishing part, not struggled on the drinking part so much, and we've just had a blast down there over the last few years, and it's a lot of fun to play. It's a busy few days for me, but it's it's pretty the Fox event, the fishing and golf, is pretty light lifting for me.
I want to just end with just a little bit of chat about family. How old are the girls now?
Almost 5 and 2.5.
Mate, that is in the trenches. What I just want to ask it broadly, like, how has being a dad to 2 young girls changed you, and what have you learned about yourself?
I mean, the perspective has changed a little bit. Like, golf is still important. It's how I provide for my family, but like the day-to-day, having a shit round doesn't matter anywhere near as much. If I come home, my daughters couldn't care if I shot 80 or 60, like, I'm still the same person to them. And that kind of puts all of that in perspective. And I've been lucky enough to win a couple of times with them there, and being able to share those kind of moments with them is amazing. Like, I'm doing a speech in Canada and my kids are throwing sand in the bunker afterwards. Like, they could not care that I was up there. They just loved the fact that they got to play in the sand. And so that's like, that brings you back down to earth pretty quickly. And, I think I mentioned earlier, like, the time management part of my life has had to change quite a bit. Like, I still want to do as much as I can. Like, when I'm home, I want to be able to do kindy pickups and drop-offs and stuff like that, and trying to manage like all the other stuff associated with golf, and then also be like, well, I still want to be able to go fishing every now and again. Like, that time management's probably been a big learning curve over the last couple of years to try to get that right, and I don't think I'll ever get it 100% right, but like, it's just, the same on tour. Like, you've still got to, like, I still want to be able to do the normal stuff that dads do, and then, they travel, probably 50+% of my tournaments, so like, there's a bit of management around, like, being able to, cook dinners and all of that kind of stuff, take them out for dinner and stuff like that, which has been, it's been a cool experience. It's been a pretty tough experience as well, traveling around with them, but we've had been able to take our kids to some pretty amazing places. Like, our oldest, when it was just her traveling, we did safaris in South Africa, and she's been to half the countries in Europe and stuff like that, which is, she's not going to remember any of it, but we certainly do, and they've been really, really cool experiences. So there's been, we've probably made life pretty hard for ourselves with the travel side of things, but it also means that I can help my wife out. Like, on the road, it's pretty lonely for her without having family, without having anyone to lean on in that respect. So, like, it's kind of look at it either way. She could stay at home and have the kids, but I'd be away most of the time, or we travel, and it's harder in a different way. And I still want to be a dad and be able to spend time with my kids. So having them travel is pretty awesome, and my wife does a pretty amazing job to keep it all together throughout the year to make sure that I can still do what I want to do on the golf course and all the other stuff associated with it. Like when we're away, she goes through, she does a lot of solo parenting, even though I'm technically around. So it's big credit to her for keeping the machine well oiled, for want of a better term.
Yeah, it doesn't work without that stability at home, does it?
No, it doesn't. And it's cool now. Like my oldest is just starting to kind of get the idea that, Dad plays golf and I can win trophies and stuff like that. So, she's might have some memories of that when I'm all finished, which is pretty cool. And again, like sharing that with them afterwards, like it's absolutely chaotic, and they've stayed up till 11:30 at night after wins, and trying to get kids to bed and dealing with all the other stuff associated with it's pretty interesting. But like to have them there and share it with them is like probably the greatest part of the whole experience.
I'm going to finish just with a couple of bits from Grant and get your sort of response to them. So he says, it's the culmination of a boyhood dream for him, playing Augusta, being on the PGA Tour. That's where he always wanted to be. There was real pressure last year when he was fighting for his card, that squeaky bum time stuff. When he won at Myrtle Beach, the relief was massive. You could hear it in his voice. But it's not the culmination yet. Now it's about how good can I be? So I kind of want to address that one first. Like, how good can you be? How are you thinking about that?
Well, I know I've proven to myself my good golf is good enough to beat the best guys in the world. Like, whether number one in the world's attainable, like, I don't know, Scotty Scheffler's pretty damn good. But, like, I know on my week I can compete with those guys, and I've got a chance to win, big tournaments going forward. It's really hard to pick what weeks you're going to play well. Like, it just, for whatever reason, golf doesn't seem to work that way for most people. You just kind of play well when you play well, and hopefully that's in a big event. So yeah, like I know if I'm in contention at a big event, a major or something like that, like I back myself to give it a crack. Whether I can do it or not is a different scenario. But like I'm in a good place with that, and as I said, I know my good golf is good enough. So I don't know where the ceiling is, but like I feel like I've still got a bit more to give in this game. But I can also look at it from the other side. If you'd have given me the career I've had now before I started, I would have absolutely jumped at that. So I can, like, I've got both sides of it, I feel like, at the moment. Like, I want to achieve more, but if I don't, well, I could still be pretty damn happy with what I've done so far.
Yeah, and I realised I've doubled up on this quote. I used a bit of it earlier, but I'm going to read it again because I think it's important. He says, what do you want for your kids? I think I've probably said this to you. It's to be happy and healthy and chasing their dreams. Well, that's what he's done. But equally, if he would have chased his dream and worked his ass off and never got to where he's got to now, but did everything he could to be the best he could be, we'd be just as proud of him. As long as you bloody give it your best shot, the outcome will be what it'll be. His outcome's been pretty good, but it could easily not have been the same way. But we wouldn't have changed our view. As long as he's a good husband and a good dad and a good person, then we've raised a good human being. And that's important to us.
Like I know that the first part of that was always massive, what Dad would say to me about, like, I don't know if golf was always wanted to be my thing. Like, it took me a while to find golf. I know we spoke about that a lot last time, but like I always wanted to be a sports person, and Dad was always like, yeah, if you've done everything you can, doesn't matter whether you succeed or fail, you can hold your head high in that regard. And like, would I change anything I've done? Probably not. Like, I probably could have worked harder at times. But I've still worked my butt off to get to this point. And yeah, I'm like proud of what I've achieved. I feel like I could potentially achieve more, but like, I think what Dad instilled in me growing up was massive in that regard, in terms of the, like, the husband and father and a good person. Like, I feel like I was raised in a really good household in that regard. Like, manners were important. That being a good person was important, and I think that was pretty easily transferred into being a husband and father. Like Dad, as I said, Dad always wanted to be there for me growing up. Like, he was a rugby coach for all my rugby teams growing up. Anything he could do. Like, I remember cricket-wise, his best mate was Martin Crowe. Like, I got batting lessons from Martin Crowe after my grandfather passed away. Like, he was always willing to help out. Mum was big with that as well. It's just, I don't think I've ever tried to be a good person or a good husband or a good dad. That's just what I grew up with, and that's what you follow along with. And I'm not saying it obviously there's exceptions to that rule from both sides. People grow up in a terrible situation can end up being great people, and vice versa. But I grew up in a great environment. I never wanted for anything, but was also never took anything for granted in that respect as well. Everything came from a pretty grounded place from mum and dad, and I want to try to do the same with my kids. Like, I'm not worried if my kids grow up playing sport or not, but as long as they turn out to be good people, and if they've got dreams and they do exactly what Dad said, they give it a crack and give it all they can. Well, it doesn't matter if they succeed or fail at it. Like, I'll still love them just the same.
I got a pretty good role model, Foxy. It's been a legendary chat. I thought our first episode was good, but I think this has beaten it. It's had a little bit of everything in there, eh? We've really ridden the ride. I just want to finish by saying, I'm so grateful that you've come down. I know how valuable your time is. It's not lost on us that you've taken time out of your day to be away from your family to come and have a chat with us. It means a lot to us. Sometimes we have pinch me moments. This is one of them for us. So just want to say thanks. And it's been I've loved this chat so much. So I know the listeners are going to get as much out of it as I did. I'll pass over to Shay.
Absolute handball. I will say this. Round 2 conversations for me are some of my favourites because we've broken the ice, and even though in those first conversations we get below the surface, it feels a lot more effortless, and I feel like we get a different version of you. I had no idea the depth of 2023.
I've tried to keep that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily quiet, but it's I'm not something that I'm just going to out and out say for no reason.
100%. So, when Annika suggested it was a blur of a year, to Stephen's point when he made it, man, no idea about that, and no idea about the challenges that somebody faces. I think our perception probably of a lot of our athletes is that it's lights and bells and it's all hunky-dory and you win in Canada, you win in Myrtle Beach, and it's just meant to be, versus the steps to get there. So for you to share that, I just want to say thank you from that perspective. But yeah, to be able to, it's a weird thing to be able to flick a message to a guy that's doing amazing things and go, hey, can you do this favor for me? And you do that, speaks to exactly what your mates say about your generosity and the sort of person that you are. So hopefully the public get a little bit of that and get behind chasing the fox and all the other great things that you do.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me for round 2. Hopefully there's something good enough for round 3 in a few years.
I like that.
I like that. It'll maybe when the menstrual cup gets out of the WhatsApp chat and becomes a reality.
Yeah, you brought that up.
He's gone there.
Yeah, I left that on the cutting room floor. But there you go.
We'll get you out of Tiki soon, Foxy.
Do that.
Thanks, mate.